strap yourselves in. I'm going to make a jump to light speed.
What's up, Hyper Drivers, and welcome to the Cantina Chat, where we talk Star Wars and Star Wars collecting most Thursday nights. Let's give it up to my co-host. We got to my left, my man Eben, the collector, the statue collector, the everything collector.
I'm twisted already.
I was about to say the statue collector, but I know you collect a lot more than that.
Let's start over.
How you doing, bro?
Pretty good, man. I'm exhausted from MegaCon, dude. That was such an adventure this weekend. You know, we saw a bunch of our buddies. We spent a lot of money. You know, you got a chance to like take pictures with some cool people. Man,
Yeah,
still haven't gotten over it.
I know. We should have took this week off. That's what we should.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
I am beat, like mentally and physically.
This guy. You know, beneath me, my man, the Raging Mando. What's going on, Frankie? How you doing?
Great, doing great.
How was your drive back?
It sucked. It definitely sucked. My legs are still recovering.
Were you crying on all the way home? I miss my friends already.
Yeah, I did that as I was driving off. That's the last time I sent you a text.
True. And to his left, we got No More Mutants in the house. What's going on, Ralph?
What is up, guys? I'm out of jail. Thanks for having me. I'm just jealous, man. That entire weekend that you guys had, I was at home just checking out the feed and the posts on Spice Runners and on your account, George. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I wish I was there. You guys had a blast.
Yeah,
It was a good time.
yeah. That's probably the biggest MegaCon yet. That's crazy.
Oh, it absolutely. It was more
It's
like
grown.
a mini Star Wars con because
Yeah.
I mean, it was really Star Wars centric.
Yeah, that's what Seth said. Seth told me, it was like, yo, this was like celebration. I was like, yeah,
Absolutely.
definitely.
It was great,
I'm
dude.
not offended by that. In Orlando, come on. I'm not offended.
I hope it keeps getting bigger, man. I can't wait for next year. So,
Did they have it at the bigger auditorium, or were they still at the smaller
did.
version?
It was in
Okay.
West Concourse
Okay.
West. Yeah.
all right.
It should have been.
Yeah, I can never tell which one is the bigger one. To me, it's like it's one of them. It'd be cool if they put them in both. That'd be dope.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Just imagine.
Yeah.
Wrestling in one on the east,
Spread
and
it
then
out.
west is all Star
yeah.
Wars.
Do the West, do the Hyatt, and then do the
Yeah.
North because it all connects.
There you go.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, they have the walkways, don't they?
Yep, it
Yeah.
all connects.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
You heard it here at MegaCon.
Plus, thank you, MegaCon, for letting us do a panel. That was fantastic.
That was cool.
That was a
too.
fun time.
Yeah,
That
it
was
was.
really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. And thanks for everybody that came to the panel. That was cool too.
Hell yeah.
So we had a big group there actually,
Yeah.
hackling us the whole time. So,
Yeah, it was a full
That was
house, so that was pretty cool.
They
So-
weren't heckling when they were winning the prizes, though, right?
No, they were happy.
Yeah, they were like, "Oh yeah, okay, sure. I'll take that lightsaber from your hands, sure."
Right.
Mhm.
All right, for you guys in the chat, thank you for hanging out or coming with us tonight. We have a great show planned for you tonight. We have in the house Paul Sun-Hyung Lee, Carson Teva from The Mandalorian is here to chat with us and talk all about his career and the hopefully some behind the scenes stuff with the Mandalorian. We'll find out. But we were just talking with him behind stage, and I had to start the show because that conversation was getting great. So
It's gonna be fun.
yeah, it's gonna be good.
It's
Trust
gonna
me,
be
trust me.
really good.
Before I say what's up to everybody in the chat, few things to mention today. We got John Williams' birthday today. So happy birthday, John Williams.
Ooh.
That's awesome.
Namaste. Thank you.
He gets one of these.
Yeah.
Yes, he does.
Icon right there.
And just a reminder, if you haven't already subscribed, we're getting real close to 50,000 subscribers on the channel, and we're going to be doing a giveaway for a lightsaber. So if you guys want to add a Emperor Palpatine lightsaber to your collection, that's going to be the giveaway. So make sure you subscribe to the channel. All right,
Nice.
let's kick it off and say what's up to everybody in the chat. We got Rosa Home. How you doing? Rosa?
Rosa.
Rosa is one of the flight members, so thank you.
Yes.
We got
Crystal
Diana, yeah.
or Diana. Sorry,
Diana. She keeps changing the
Daughter
name.
of
man.
Daphne.
I know.
Daughter of Dathmir.
That's
It's like
a
I'm
great
I'm
icon.
remembering the name and then it changed the name. Lewis is in the house already with a question. I already told him I'm going to keep that in the hand. I agree. We need a Hot Toys of Carson.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
That's a day one
Yeah.
pre-order.
Frankie becoming a flight crew member today, so he gets my room. Got a new sound chat for that.
That's my new thumbnail now.
Like, the R2.
Justin Jacobs, what's going on? How you doing?
Justin.
Got Kaz. How you doing, man?
Kaz.
Zena's in the house. What's up, Zena?
Xena.
Warrior.
She just went to XenaCon.
Xenacon.
Getting
I
a,
got an echo.
where's that coming from? Oh, that's me. Whoop.
Oh, you got it on your phone.
I don't know why it was on my phone. It just turned on. That was weird.
Whoops.
That was very strange, man. All right. That was very weird. Jedi Shizzle, what's up, dude? How you
Did
doing?
you get
Mine was,
Zombie Hunter? I think you missed Zombie Hunter because your
Did I?
phone went off. Yeah.
Oh, Zombie Hunter's in the house. Also, for everybody in the chat, make sure you do the poll that's pinned to the top.
Yes.
A little fun poll that Eben and I put together. All right, so I think I'm at Pat's fan. Jedi.
Pat's fan.
Jeff, what's going on? How you doing?
What up?
Got Eben pulling double duty. Pat's fan, by the way, is another flight crew member. Thank you, buddy.
Awesome.
Got Ralph pulling double duty as well. Jedi Shizzle is also a flight crew member. Thank you, buddy. Chase, what's going on, dude? How you doing?
Nice.
Hopefully I don't miss anybody. I should have got my glasses. Rebel Scum, what's up, man? How you guys doing?
Rebel scum.
Wicked senior citizen, George.
Yeah, man. Shoot. It's like it changed. I turned 43, 44, and
Oh, jeez.
gone.
It's all downhill now, dude.
I know.
Now
it's
you're gonna
just
be wearing
like that is.
progressives like
That
me.
is how it goes.
You know, I become Ralph, and I have like echoes in my stuff all day.
Oh my god.
Aw.
I got my vision's not bad. I got LASIK, so
Oh,
I'm
there you go.
okay.
Damn, I'm not talking till Paul comes on. Damn.
Jens,
And
guten
this is how-
Tag.
What's going on, man? By the way, he's got a really badass shirt that he's got for sale right now. So make sure you check out his site.
Nice.
Let's see. I think I already got
Yep.
out of
Got
that.
Dathomir.
Primetime reviews. What's going
Primetime.
on? How you doing?
What up?
We got Todd Freeman in the house. What's up, Todd?
Toad.
Sergio, what's going on?
Sergio.
Let's see.
Hope you're feeling better, Sergio.
He's under the weather?
Yeah, he has the vid.
Ah,
Ooh,
that sucks.
the ninja.
Nameless, what's up, dude?
There he is.
Painless.
Been talking
There
to
you
him all
go.
week.
Jason's in the house. What's up, Jason?
J2
What's up,
so.
That dude
And-
cracked me up.
yeah, he's a trip, man. Man, okay. It's like the chat. This man. The chat's on fire today. It's like I'm trying to find everybody.
It's just
Right?
going. I'm watching
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
While
Bro.
George is looking, don't forget to like and subscribe and take that survey.
Yeah, there you go. Daniel B, how you doing? You got Joe in the house. What's up, man?
There
I
he is.
think you missed this one right here. Let me post it real quick.
Come on.
This one right here.
At Smile. Hey, how's it going?
Smart.
We got DJ Bergs in the house. Burgess. We got Shane. What's going on?
Shane.
What's up, Shane?
Chris Elliott. How you
Elliot.
doing? Forrest Casey.
What up?
Nice.
Norman's in the house. What's up, Norm?
Norm.
Norman Rich.
Got Jason. What's going on, bro?
Jason.
Rolando Flores. What's up, dude?
Love that icon.
Ooh, man, I don't think I'm gonna get to the bottom of this chat. Do back. What's going on, Jason?
You're almost there.
You're back.
Feedback non-delivers.
Robin.
Oh,
I'm glad you
feedback
made it
delivered.
on, man.
Feedback delivered. Hey,
Yeah.
he delivered. I can vouch for that.
You made it on, bro. Okay, I already got Justin.
Yep.
Daniel.
Yep, you got Daniel.
Got Daniel. I got Sergio. I don't know if I got this Sergio, but we'll do him again.
Yeah. And I saw Marcel was on there too.
Marcel's in there. What's
Yeah.
up, Marcel?
Yeah, don't forget the super chat that's in there.
Oh, there's a super chat in there too. No,
Yes.
dude. Might get there eventually. Let me pull that up, Rosa. I think. Thank you. Man, I think I'm caught up.
Sky
Got
Guy's
Delta
towards the
here.
end.
Sky Guys towards the end. Jeez, man, I don't think I've ever had this many people in the chat.
It's a big show. So
Yeah,
People always watch and they don't comment, but today they're
Maybe
like,
not.
"Hey."
Tonight-
Oh, today they want to make sure they comment. It's
we got
all right.
90 MFC. What's going on, dude?
Hey, I hadn't seen that one.
Mark Sidious, what's up?
What up?
Mark.
And if I keep up with this, we're never gonna have Paul on the show.
Yeah.
Marcel,
know.
there he is.
Marcel.
Ben, what's up? Sean,
We always get teased that it takes us half an hour on Fridays to start our show.
Yeah. I think I missed Sky Guy. I didn't see him in there. I know he's in there.
I think he just finished the Mandalorian movie.
He just finished the Mandalorian.
like when you watch Angry Appa show, it takes like an hour to go through the things.
Yeah, I know. It's unboxing, bro.
There we go. I think we got them all now.
We got them all?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, we're good. We're good.
Let's do this.
All right.
Oh, got a super chatter.
God dang it, you're back.
Hit it.
There you go. All right. Now we got everybody acknowledged, I hope. All right, so our special guest tonight, you guys know him as Appa from Kim's Convenience. He's also played Carson Teva on a little show called The Mandalorian, and he's soon to be Uncle Iroh in a couple weeks on the Netflix series The Avatar: The Last Airbender. Please give a warm hyperdrive welcome to our special guest, Paul Sun-Hyung Lee.
What's up, everyone? Thanks for having me on board.
Hey.
What's up, Paul?
Thank you for coming,
This is
Paul.
so awesome.
First of all, I gotta say, you guys are like clockwork. Like the stream started with military precision. 8 o'clock. I'm looking at going, the countdown's happening, and there's literally 10 seconds. They've got it coordinated. And then I'm sorry, that shout out to the chats, awesome. You guys kept it sub 7 minutes, which is great. Like you said, my channel, we run to like 40 minits average. I try to keep it as short as I can, but it's nuts. I can't help it. I'd like to talk. But I'm going to point out, you didn't get everybody on that list. I did double duty too, and I commented. And you missed me, man. You missed me. So 100 points
if he
deducted.
misses you, he owes you lunch. That's the
I know that's what happens. The next time I see you, I got to buy you lunch.
That's
You owe a
nice
bunch of
one.
people lunch then.
Go to a con.
Nice.
You go to a con and he's there.
We'll just go to the con. I'll just buy everybody drinks that we go to the con.
There you go.
There you go.
Make up for it. Paul, man, thanks for coming on the show. Appreciate it.
Oh, thank you so much for inviting me. I'm a big fan of this channel and of all of you guys. I am a subscriber on this channel. I do watch your content. You're the go-to guys for, like, if you want to see the Cadillac versions of reviews done properly, your passion for the series shines through. You guys are really cool dudes too. I enjoyed. Thank you so much. I'm honored to be here.
Thanks, man.
Thank
Oh,
you.
thanks,
Appreciate
Paul.
that.
So
That really means a lot to us. All right, man. So that's a badass background that you have, by the way. I really like the way the collection room has evolved over the years that you've been, collecting. It's awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, no, this is actually we moved about a year ago.
Okay.
A little more than a year ago, and the old I've got a YouTube channel too, is Bitterasiandude Inc.
Bitterasiandude, right?
And it used to be out of the geeky basement, which was very small and cramped and leaky. And it was like I had this little shop bench that was like very Harry Potter-esque. It was under the stairs, and that's why I would build my replica props and put stuff together.
Wow.
And it was just like the background was all cramped in. You can never tell on camera, but if you ever did the tour, it was like the warehouse at Raiders of the Lost Ark at the end with all the boxes just sort of piled up with unopened things. And so we moved here, and it's been a long process because this house is triple the space, but the basement was garbage, absolute garbage, mold, leaky, but there was a lot of potential. And after 7 months of renovation, it's all done. And I'm unpacking everything. And so the background that you see here has been like a labor of love. I have triple the space, but I still don't think that's enough for all my stuff.
Paul.
It's crazy. Space danger is absolutely real.
Yeah.
But these panels, I like that I can decorate at least. So these panels here, it's the Home Depot do-it-yourself special.
Yep.
With
Right, there you
the
go.
Barrett garden gates.
Yep.
Yeah.
With the I put the Mylar on it and the LED
love my
lights
wife.
and built a wooden frame.
I got my wife. I love my wife.
Yeah.
She brought my
hey,
glass.
Paul, I'm going to
She
offer
heard
you
you.
the same thing that I've offered to Eben and George, but they don't take me up on it. Is if
Okay.
you need some place to store your stuff,
Right on.
I've got room, sir.
You just got to get to Kansas.
Arkansas.
Well, I'm up in Canada, and it might be a little bit difficult to get my stuff down there, but
These guys can vouch. I can drive the distance.
Yeah, driving is not a problem for him. He could drive. He could drive.
don't talk to my wife. She'll take you up on that.
I think all our wives will take you up on it, Frank.
Right? That's funny, man. All right, man. I know we're gonna have a lot of questions about the Mandalorian and Star Wars and everything like that. I was reading up on your bio on IMDb and then also on Wikipedia and all that. I saw that you studied drama at the University of Toronto, and that your uncle was also an actor as well.
Yeah.
Is this something you've always wanted to do? Is be an actor?
No, God, no. I didn't even know I could be an actor, to be honest. And I didn't know my uncle was an actor either. It was like the big family shame secret, right? Yeah, you know, like, so my parents are immigrants. We immigrated from South Korea when I was 3 months old. And my parents gave up a lot to come to Canada. Like they had, you know, they were both teachers, well-respected, well-paying professions, had a big house, they had it all. And they moved to Canada. They pulled up stakes and moved to Canada. And they had to start from scratch. Didn't speak the language, couldn't work as teachers, had to, you know, the true immigrant experience where people thought they were dumber because they couldn't speak English. And all their options, career options were completely limited. And so it was one of those things where, you know, I asked like, well, why did you move here then? And the answer is always is, and I don't know if it's true or not, but this is what they tell me. They say it's to give you and your sister better opportunities, because we saw that you would have more opportunities in Canada. So we moved here. Ultimate sacrifice. Wow. I happen to think that they're probably just running from the law. I don't know.
Soldier runners.
I don't think I'd have the stones to do what they did. Like if I had to move to like a European country, like say I'm going to move to Norway because, you know, it's better there. And, you know, I don't speak Norwegian. I don't know if I could do that and pull up stakes and start from scratch to give my kid, like, I love my kids, but not that much type thing. And so coming here, it was, my parents always said 5 things in life you can be: doctor, lawyer, teacher, an engineer, or a failure. You choose, right? And so when I chose to go into the arts, more specifically into acting, they were not happy. I mean, it's the whole, why did we sacrifice all of this and you want to be an actor? Like, we moved here so you wouldn't have to suffer. And now you're choosing a profession where you're gonna suffer because it's a hard life as a performer, right? And so yeah, that was the thing. So, and I fell into performance really late. Like honestly, it was going to university. My family, we were living in Calgary, Alberta at the time, and my girlfriend was going to Toronto, University of Toronto, and I was like, I'm going to University of Toronto because I want to be with my girlfriend. I don't know what I'm going to take out there. Oh, look, there's a performance. There's acting. Sounds like fun. Like, yeah, I'll try that type thing. You know, 2 months after I moved out to Toronto, my girlfriend dumped me. And so I'm in Toronto by myself. And to audition for the drama program, I'd never taken any acting courses. I had no idea what to expect. It was this big group sort of workshop that we had to do. And man, if you don't know theater school exercises, if you've never done them before, they're insane. Like you don't know the purpose of them, and they just seem, I mean, for lack of a better term, stupid. Because I was there, and you know, first of all, only person of color. Everybody else was like white, and walking in, it was very intimidating because they were all like stretching and doing vocal warm-ups and stuff, and I'm like, I don't know, just sort of show up. What are we doing? Why are you doing this, right?
Right.
And I felt really, really out of place, and I felt like really dumb, and I felt like I didn't understand any of what was going on. I just felt like I do not belong here. And I remember by the end of it, we had this big sort of circle where we all standing in a circle, and the instructor gave us one line to deliver. And, we all had to walk into the center of the circle and deliver that line. And the line was, "What a terrible, miserable, rotten day." And I thought, fuck, I got this. I totally got this. And I remember just going in with full vitriol, full like pent up frustration and anger. I glared right at the instructor, delivered those words, and I spat on the floor. And I walked out.
Wow.
Because I was like, I'm not coming back here.
Yeah.
So I got into the program and fell in love with the craft of acting. Yeah. And it's one of those lifelong journeys where I discovered it was like intoxicating, learning what the craft of acting was. It was so much more than I thought it was going to be. And I loved it. It was just so engaging, and it was working a different part of my brain. And I was, wanted to be super creative and invested in it. And it was ultimately about storytelling, which I absolutely adored. Growing up, because my parents were immigrants, were always working, the TV was my babysitter. So it was like, that's how I learned how to speak English. I consumed content like there was no tomorrow. I watched a whole whack of shows that I really shouldn't have been watching, but I loved all the different forms of storytelling. And I thought for a while I wanted to be a writer and this and that, and that was great. And I wanted to be a cartoonist. I was finding different creative outlets, but I'd never ever considered performance. And that was for me, that's what got me hooked, because I think even as a young kid, I had a very extroverted sort of, I wanted to be the center of attention. And this was a perfect sort of like, oh, wow, eyes on you. And I love making people laugh. And just sort of that was just for me, that was my gig. And so, yeah, when I found out I could be an actor, it was an incredible moment of my life where it's like, wow, I can do this for a living. Cool. And just dove into it. It's been a long journey, though. It's been a very long journey.
That's very cool.
I had a quick question, because I know you based your performance of Appa on your father.
Yeah.
How did he take that, seeing a reflection or a mirror of himself and his son, who he at one point is like, you're going to bring not shame, but it's going to be harder and more difficult for you because you've chosen this craft instead of being a doctor, a lawyer, or anything else.
He loved it. He
Really?
was absolutely so honored and flattered, because Appa that I play on Kim's Convenience, he's like 90% he's like 80% my dad, 20% all the stubborn Korean men I grew up with in my life. And it's done with so much love and respect, because I remember reading when I first read this character, because Kim started off as a play. And so we were developing it and workshopping it. And immediately it was like, I know this guy. I've lived this experience, not as him, but I know so many men. Yeah. As a son, this is my dad. This is my uncle. This is my grandfather. These are the crusty old dudes at church who sneak around back and smoke cigarettes, and they think they know everything, right? And it's just like, yeah, okay, I got these guys. And what I loved about it wasn't this caricature sort of one-dimensional joke about these guys. There were nuances. They were flawed. He's a flawed man. But what I loved about him was the love that he had for his family, his utter devotion and commitment to them. And so for me was just like, yeah, okay. And so my dad, after decades of watching me in smaller roles and, in shows that he didn't really understand what was going on, for Kim's Convenience, when it came out, he knew exactly what was going on. He loved that I was playing a Korean Canadian man, a version of him. He loved that the show was well received in the Korean community. So there's some social currency there for him, some social capital. And so he could finally go, that's my son. My son's on Kim's Convenience. Do you know?
That's awesome.
Yeah. And so that was really cool. And he was my inspiration for a lot of it too. And so when people give accolades to the character, there's another part of me that shines, because I go, well, that's my dad.
Yeah.
That's my Appa. And so, and all the best parts of him, I try to reflect. And so that's a double win for me.
I love the show. I can tell you, I am not Korean. I am Puerto Rican, grown and raised in the United States. But who you portrayed was also my father, and I could see the reflections of my father in there. Even the friction between you and your son in the show, who happens to be Shang-Chi in the MCU, but the friction that you guys brought to the table, I saw my own life in there and my father's life at a certain point. And then I saw you guys break those walls down. And I'm like, God dang it, this is freaking hard. Yeah. This is just a 30-minute Netflix episode, if that, I'm like, God damn, it's a freaking great show.
Yeah, and that's you touch on something that's so wonderful about the show. That is, it's so specifically Korean, it becomes universal. Yeah. It's so weird, right? Like, it is about the relationships between family, and when you break everything down past the cultural divides, at the end of the day, it is about relationships: fathers, sons, mothers, daughters, fathers, daughters, siblings, friends, and these dynamics, these emotions, they are universal. And the reason why I think people connect with them is because we try to portray them in a very sort of authentic and real way. It wasn't your normal sitcom where it was like, well, if you had just told them at the beginning this, they would have avoided this entire situation.
Yeah.
You know, it really was kind of ahead of its time, which I really loved being a part of, because the writing really was very smart. And it was just, again, Kim's was a dream role for me, and it's opened up so many opportunities for me and for other members of the cast. And you know, it's been a great launching pad, and I can't imagine what my life would have been like, or my career even too, without Kim's Convenience. So there's a debt of gratitude there.
It was a great show.
It was a great show. It was such a shocker when they canceled it, because, you know, like, it was already on season 5, and we're like, man, we got like 10 more seasons of this thing. It was so great, man. You could have kept going.
Yeah, no, I mean, that was the thing. It just, like life, things don't always end the way you really wanted them to. And, like, you know, it's interesting because you say the word canceled. It really wasn't canceled. The network, CBC, who produced it, one of the co-producers here in Canada, they were the distributor. We were greenlit for season 6. We were ready to go, but it was just, you know, the producing team, they had decided that they couldn't maintain the level of quality that they wanted, and so they pulled the plug. And, you know, like a lot of things too, and I mean, it's come out, and there'll be a time to sort of really fully talk about it. I don't know, you know, now's not the time, but things get weird on shows sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Like the center sometimes doesn't hold. You get a bit of a speed wobble happening, and you get people's egos that are involved, and different people, and mistakes are made, and things that should have been dealt with didn't. And, you know, it kind of happens. There wasn't like some sort of evil plan to sort of like undermine everything that was going on, because it was a hit show.
Oh, it was
and
fantastic.
to this day,
Yeah.
for me,
100%.
I still scratch my head. It's like, why is it so difficult? Why was it so hard to make a hit show? It caught a lot of us by surprise. I mean, it caught me by surprise. I was very emotional about it as well, but just because it felt so sudden. You know, but with all things ending, new things begin. And if Kim's hadn't ended, I wouldn't be able to have done as much as I did in Mandalorian, Ahsoka, and now Avatar: The Last Airbender, right? So like there's a reason for everything at the end of the day. And for me, I will always love Kim's Convenience. I will always be grateful for the time I had on there, and the experiences that we had, and I use that, and I'll hold that close to my heart always. But I've moved forward tremendously, and the future is so bright, and I'm just so thankful to have had that experience, and to continue to grow as an artist, and to do other things as well. Because as much as I loved Kim's, it's really cool to be doing all these other things too.
Oh yeah,
Right.
Oh, I bet. Yeah. And congrats on winning the lead actor award for Canada there for Kim's Convenience as well. That's awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, for those of you who don't know, it's the Canadian Screen Awards, which is the Canadian version of the Emmy and Oscar put together. They have separate categories for film and television, but it's all one award, which is great. And I've been fortunate enough 4 times. I got 4 times, 4 to 5 years.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Wow. That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
Hey, you get one of these, man.
Impressive.
Oh,
There you go.
thank you.
That actually means we're impressed that George hit the right button that time.
Yeah. He's wearing his glasses now, so he's on fire.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
All right, man. Frank, you want to shoot a question?
Let's give one for the chat. Let's go back up to the very first question that was.
Yes.
All right.
If we can you pull it up? Because I'm trying to find it.
Which question are you talking about?
It was the first
Very
one.
first one.
It's from Luis Jimenez. I can bring it up.
All right,
Yeah,
cool.
You pull it up.
I got it.
There you go.
Nice.
Let's see. You want to read it, Frankie?
Yeah, sure. So question was, you've been in 4 episodes of The Mandalorian, 3 episodes of Ahsoka, and 1 episode of Book of Boba Fett. When are we going to see a 1/6 scale hot toy of your character?
Yeah.
Oh man, thank you.
Hot toys.
I wish I could answer you. I really wish I could answer you. I have no idea. Like, I don't know how they choose to do this. whether it's the studio that says, yeah, whether Hot Toys, they decide this character is figure worthy. I know Hasbro I've got no love from Hasbro either. And that's a whole other woo. You don't get me started on that.
Right?
Yeah, no, it's just like they did the reveal, they did a drop just yesterday. The E-Wing is being released, and along with the E-Wing, you get 2 pilots. 2, Lieutenant Callahan and the other dude, who share like maybe 2 seconds of screen time.
Yeah,
they get figures. But Carson Teva, heck no. Why? Because Hasbro hates me. No, that's my that's what I joke about. It's like that whole Jimmy Kimmel and Matt Damon sort of rant where he's always cutting off Matt Damon. I'm starting to feel that way with Hasbro. So every time I grind the gears a little bit by saying, "Where's my figure, Hasbro? What do I have to do to get a figure?" Like I've already been in all these, but hey, you say we need another fleet commander, a Mandalorian fleet commander? Absolutely. Let's get another 5 of those. Hey, why don't we get some more old action figures from like 15 years ago? Like it's a Star Killer. Yeah, that's relevant. Let's get a character from like, and I love Sam Witwer, but that game is 15 years old.
Yeah.
But we need another Star Killer figure with 2 stormtroopers that have already been released. Let's put them together in a package and charge $90 and say it's a limited collector and watch it sell out. And it does. So they know what they're doing. But I would be remiss if I did not point out that I did finally get a little bit of love from Hasbro. I got the Black Series, the role play Carson Teva helmet was just dropped. It's being delivered in the States. Canada, it's dropping here sometime in March. I think it's great. I just did a half-assed review on my own channel for it. But it's literally the laziest thing they could do because they have the molds for the helmets. It's a straight-up repaint. They reprogram that little sound chip, and away you go. And but the box looks really nice. I wish like Hot Toys. That would be like friends of mine. We have this joke or this sort of running gag going on. Which character is going to be released first? Carson Teva or Iroh? Which one? Who's going to be the first?
Come on.
And so,
we may have to do a kit bash of Iroh in the Star Wars universe.
Right.
Like Gentle Giants did give you some love. They gave you the little that was great. I have mine. He's over there with my Mandalorian.
Gentle Giant, right?
Yeah, the Gentle Giant one.
And hey, Gentle Giant, I mean, is hit or miss on their portraits, but they nailed you. They did a great job on that.
They did a good job.
It's spectacular.
It's better than the Han Solo. It is better than the Han Solo.
Absolutely.
Well, to be fair, I have a helmet too, so that's like 90%
it's
of it.
a little bit easier,
But they nailed the beard and the skull.
Somebody in the chat put it in there. The beard game is strong with you because I mean, like I'm envious. This is as much as I could get it, and I'm 50. You're 51. I think Frankie, you're 50, right?
51.
51, Frankie, and you are the same age. But that beard game is strong with you, man. I'm envious.
Thank you very much. Thank you. It's to make up for the lack of hair on my head.
Maybe you'll be a HasLab exclusive.
Right.
That's what we're gunning for. We're holding our fingers crossed for HasLab exclusive.
That would never know.
Super sweet. Carson Teva's X-Wing. They already got the molds, right? X-Wing with figures.
It's just a repaint.
Right.
Yeah, but they don't have an X-Wing in a Black Series, right? I don't think so.
No.
I don't think so. Not that size.
That'd be huge.
That would be huge.
Yeah. I guess so. My question would be: so, what got you into Star Wars?
Oh God, my dad, when I was 5 years old, took my sister and I to see Star Wars in the movie theater, and that was it. Game over. Like you see that opening crawl, I can't read it. I have no idea what's going on. I see this the music's hitting. This crawl goes up. I can't read it. My dad won't read it to me because I don't think he can read it either. But then, you get that Starfield, and then the Tantive 4 goes streaking across, and it's being chased by that Star Destroyer. And that was it. I was like, oh, are you kidding me? The boom, boom, boom. And then you see droids. You see R2 and C-3PO, and you hear that klaxon going off in the Tantive 4. Yeah. And all these Rebel fleet troopers are running by, and you're like, oh, shit's going to happen. Can I swear on this channel?
Yeah,
you can.
I've been swearing. I'm sorry, demonetized.
No, thank you for opening that damn.
I appreciate it. We were all worried. We were like, man, did we curse? I'm like,
yeah, no.
You're great, and then I'm good now.
Yeah.
I'm so happy.
But you see it, and and then they get slaughtered, and these dudes in white armor burst through a door, and they're just slaughtering everybody. And then there's Vader steps on you, like, who the fuck is this guy?
Yeah,
and he scared the shit out of me as a kid.
Hell yeah!
Right? And it was that was it, and it was this rip-roaring adventure. And there's Luke, who just wants to be a hero and do more and stuff, and it's like, even as a 5-year-old, I understood that, right? I was like, oh yeah, he wants to go on an adventure. He's stuck in a boring place, and he wants more. And it was just like, it just totally caught my attention. A beautiful princess, and then Han Solo, who was just like, this guy's dangerous. Like, he's funny and he's dangerous, and then Chewbacca, all that stuff, and Alec Guinness. It was just so much. And after that, really, it was the toys. The toys hooked me, because it was like, ooh, okay, so I can get I can get action figures, I can reenact these scenes, and I can create new adventures with them, right? And
awesome.
That's it. And then Empire Strikes Back comes out, and more toys, which is great. Return of the Jedi, even more toys. And the great thing about that entire original trilogy was, my dad took my sister and I to see Star Wars. Empire Strikes Back, it was a babysitter who took us to see it. And Return of the Jedi, my sister and I were old enough to go see it by ourselves.
Wow.
And so that was a progression. And then as the series went on with the prequels, episode 1, I was just dating my wife, just started episode 2. We were engaged and getting married. Episode 3, we were married and living on our own, right? And then you move on to the sequels, and I'm bringing my kids to see them.
Yeah.
And that's the progression right there. So Star Wars has always been a part of my life, from playing with the toys, collecting them, and then getting the lifelong dream come true of being in a Star Wars series. I'm done.
That's a gift from God. I mean, literally, that doesn't happen to anybody every day. I mean, it happened to you, so that's awesome. Oh, so we got a question from Seth. Go ahead, George.
Appreciate it, Seth. All right, he says, if you had the opportunity to play any character in Star Wars lore, who would it be and why?
Oh man, that's a tough one.
Carson Teva.
Yeah, obviously I'm thinking it can't be me, because I'm already doing that.
Somebody that gets an action figure.
Yeah. All of them, you mean? Except Carson? Good Lord. Because that's what it's like.
Yeah.
It's like, I honestly think, I joke that they're about, okay, we're going to reveal in the next pipeline. It'll be the next pipeline reveal. Finally, you've been asking for it, Carson Teva. And then they hear me going, where's my figure, Hasbro? And they go, you know what? Fuck you, Paul. Let's put it in the back. Right?
I love it.
We got to talk to the Chris Army and motivate them a little bit to get that going.
True.
Geez. I've never ever thought of it that way, because they are who they are. I had my favorite sort of side characters that I really like. Wedge Antilles was super cool for me, because he was always kind of there. Those type of guys. I always thought I always got a kick out of Admiral Piet, because he was just kind of there, and he was just like, oh, Captain Piet, and then Admiral Oswald gets killed, and he's like, oh shit, I've been promoted. And he's just kind of there, and he's just like,
that'd be a good thing.
Exactly, right? And then he finally buys it in Return of the Jedi.
Yep.
I wish, and one of the things that I loved about the prequels were seeing so many Jedis around. I really kind of love that. But God, I don't know how to answer that question, because there's so much, and it's like, well, who do you choose, right?
Right.
That just I'm really enamored with as well Rogue One and all the characters that have come out of that. So Baze Malbus is somebody I think whose history I would love to explore, see like what his journey was with Chirrut Imwe. And as well, on that vein too, where was I going with this? I was going somewhere with this. Oh, the Andor with the series, Luthen. God, I'd love to
He's
great
his
character.
Backstory.
Yeah.
Before, like what got him through Order 6, because I think he's a Jedi, right?
Me too,
In
yeah.
hiding.
Really?
It's got to be, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and and I think his assistant was his Padawan. But that's my own sort of in-house sort of theory. Like they're on the run. But I love that he's fallen from grace, and it's this whole he's doing all the nasty shit. He's become what he's fighting against because he knows that's what it takes to win.
Right.
So I'm like really, I'm loving that. And then on the other hand, too, I'd love to be a bounty hunter and just shoot people. So I'm torn, right, between the different types of storytelling that are in Star Wars, the different kinds of narratives that are all involved. Like you can be any of them, really. And so I can't. It's just like give a starving man a menu. Like I can't just pick one. Right?
There you go.
There you go.
Good point.
All right, we got Data Leader over here. How has your relationship with fan clubs changed since you've officially become a part of the Star Wars universe? Now, I know you're also a member of the 501st, too.
That's correct. Yeah. So I joined the 501st before I got onto Star Wars. So
your uniform's weathered, right?
Yeah.
Inside joke. Tell him, George. Let's do the super chat real quick.
We'll do super chat. Appreciate it, Will. We'll get to his comment here in just a second. I submitted my costume for the 501st and I was declined because it wasn't weathered enough. So it was the Jaren Mandalorian costume. So
yeah, I get it. So did you muddy it up a bit more and go in, or did you just give up?
I muddied it up and then I got angry. It's because I went and saw because they told me it was like this in the Book of Boba Fett,
right.
And I muddied it up. And I went to go see the Book of Boba Fett afterwards because I really wasn't happy with the way I did it. Right. And then I'm looking at the costume and it doesn't look dirty in the show, So I'm there cursing and yelling. And my wife is like, "What's wrong?" I was like, "I just fucked up my whole costume. I spent all this money on this thing." And so I'm there all night, buffing the helmet out and trying to get it as lightly weathered as possible. So as soon as I get the opportunity, I'm gonna suit back up, take more pictures, and then submit it again. But
which version of Mando? You're doing the Book of Boba Fett Mando, or are you doing the Beskar armor?
It's the Beskar armor, but they jump. They go from season 1 Mandalorian to Book of Boba Fett. Like they totally omit.
They missed the CRL with the in between because I remember. Sorry, and this is deep cuts for anybody who doesn't care about this. I apologize. Because they had season 1, like Mando, the first one where he's got the old Durasteel armor. It's all back to hell, right?
Yeah.
And then because I remember there was the rush, the race to be the first to get the completed costume, get it submitted, get the CRL, which is a costume reference library. For those of you who don't know, the 501st, they have what they'll do is they have a bunch of judges and they'll put together the first person to build a costume. Will build it as accurately as possible based on screen caps from the show. They'll submit it. It's got to be approved. And then they'll put it out. They'll list it for the rest of the membership to follow and go, if you want to be a Mandalorian, this is exactly how it's supposed to look. So a bunch of them are racing to do that. And then like 2 episodes later, he gets the Beskar armor. And everybody's losing their minds because they're like, I just spent like 2 weeks killing myself to get this. And now you've got the freaking If your armor is shiny clean, that is a screen cap look when he first enters, after he gets it made, and he strolls into that bar in Navarro to talk to Grief Karga, God rest his soul. He's shiny. That is shiny ass.
Really
armor.
shiny.
There's no weathering on that.
Exactly.
So I would argue, but it all depends on who your garrison liaison, who the GML is, who's doing that. Because some are very picky, and this is the judge who's basically looking at every element of your costume and saying what you might need to work on a little bit more. And different GMLs have different priorities. So
look at that sexy guy right there.
I'm good.
Yes, of course.
Yeah. So they have the reference library for the Durasteel armor and then the Beskar for season 1.
Yeah.
But then they skip season 2, skip season 3, and go directly into Book of Boba Fett. That's the only other option that they have there. But if you even see the Book of Boba Fett, that armor looks cleaner actually than it did at the end of season 1. So
a lot of things were cleaner in that show.
Yeah, it could just be that.
Unfortunately.
Either way, I lightly weathered it. I think I did a pretty good job on it. I wore it at MegaCon this past weekend, and so I was happy.
Yeah. So, well, and at the end of the day, that's what counts. Yeah. If you're happy with it. I remember when I submitted the 501st, it was a TIE pilot that I did. And I got 2 notes back. One was my hoses that are connected to my helmet were too long that fit into. And I was like, how the fuck do you know that? It was too long. From a picture, fuck you. And I looked at it, I was like, oh, it is too long. So I trimmed them and I put them in. And then it was just that they have these hexagonal plates on the shoulder straps. And mine were molded that came with the kit that I bought. And they had this big bump on them. And I was told, no, those aren't accurate. You need to put actual Chicago screws in there. And so it was like, okay, so I had to fabricate those from scratch. It was fairly easy enough, but it was a pain in the ass to just sort of go through it because I thought I was done. But there was this really stubborn part of me that was just like, okay, no, you want accurate? I'll go for it. You know, that's cool. And so it was a challenge for me. And you kind of go, but once you're in, it's nice because you're like, okay, it's a sense of accomplishment. You feel like, okay, this passed muster, right? I jumped through the hoops. I'm part of it. And then when you troop to and you see the reactions of people, I mean, you get this when you go to cons. People light up when they see the costume. Now imagine doing that for a charity event with a bunch of kids who are or visiting a hospital and stuff, and they light up. And it's just like the amount of good that the 501st does for charities, especially children's charities, Make-A-Wish, Starlight Foundation, all these things is immeasurable. And that's why I love their slogan is bad guys doing good.
Right.
And what other, I mean, and it's a great, hey, if you're going to dress up like plastic spacemen, right? Yeah. That's an awesome reason to do it. But not everything, the 501st isn't the be all and the end all for everybody. And if you just like kidding up and you want to go to a con and dress up, go do it. Everybody's got their different skill sets, different levels of cosplay. If you're happy with it and you're proud of it and you've worked with it, that's what cosplay should be. This is what I did. And if you're looking to improve, talk to other cosplayers, get little tips, little tricks. The 501st, they're also great if you're just, hey, I need some advice. How do I get this look? I'm not looking for membership. Everybody likes talking about building Star Wars costumes. They do. And reach out and you'll find more often than not people who are willing to help. And that's what I love about this community is there are more really, really helpful and open-minded people than there are the assholes who are gatekeeping and like will turn their noses up at you and go run away. You know, that's such a small subsect of fandom, but they're the ones that get the most attention because right now negativity seems to sell. Yeah. You want to get clicks on your video, be an anti-fan. Point out shit that you hate and stoke the fires, and people will click on your and it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Yeah. So I think true fans, we build each other up. And that's what I think this channel does. Yeah. I try to do on my channel. It is let's bring out the best in fandom because we love what we do. Let's share it with everybody else. Let's learn from everybody else. And you're hanging out with people who love the same shit as you. How awesome is that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? So
you found your tribe.
Yeah.
All right. Let's get to Will's question over here. So Will says, what's something you learned about Star Wars that surprised you while working on the shows?
Honestly, how much everybody's into it on set. They're all Star Wars nerds. They're all awesome. Everybody who's working on there has such a passion for Star Wars, and they're so proud of the work that they do. And everybody is just every department has their own swag, their own stickers, shirts. Nice. It's amazing. It's just, and they're all fans of everything. Like you see them nerding out over everything too, which is great. And because I've worked on a number of sets, and and there are a few people like, man, whatever, it's a show. I don't, I just worked on it.
Right.
But Star Wars, man, people fight to work on these shows, and it's because they're passionate about it and they love it. And so that was for me. It was like, oh, for a lot of people, it's more than just a gig, right? It's a really, really cool thing, and as well, there haven't been any assholes. It's been great. It's just you show up and it's like everybody's respectful, everybody's fun, everybody's working their asses off to make you look good or to make the scene work properly. It's a lot of fun. It really is. It's almost criminal how much fun at least I've had on set, right? So
it's It's crazy having fun on your job, huh?
Right? Like
Living the dream.
That is the dream. Frankie's living it now.
Has anybody ever any of your co-stars ever like been surprised by your knowledge of Star Wars? Or like Tony was surprised or anybody?
Well, here's the thing. So my first day on set, Dave, God, I love him. He threw me under the bus though, because he was all like, okay, everybody, this is Paul. He knows probably more about Star Wars than I do. So if I'm not around, just ask Paul because he knows.
Oh, God.
And I was like, oh shit. Why did you do no?
That's awesome.
Yeah, I was just like, fuck, now I'm screwed because someone's gonna ask me something and I go, I don't know. And then there's my credibility out the window.
What's the name of the 8-wing pilot that crashed into the executor? You know, and you're like,
right? Exactly. I'm like, I don't know expanded universe lore. Like, I don't know.
He said you knew everything.
Right, exactly. So, and it was funny because it actually kind of did happen. I was shooting a scene, and then they said, okay, you're on a relax. Go back to you can go back to base camp and just chill because we're not going to get you for a few hours. I was like, oh, okay. Can I get out of costume? And they're like, yeah, absolutely. So they drive me, but like there's a back lot which is a couple of miles away from the studios. And so, you know, I get driven back to the studio and I'm just sort of chilling out. And the one of the ADs goes, hey, they need you on set. There's a bit of an emergency. I said, what's going? Do I need to get back into costume? He said, no. They just have a question they want you to answer about Star Wars. And I was like,
Nice.
it's happening. It's happening.
The resident expert.
And I was like, and I was trying to be cool. I was like, well, did you know what they want to know? For the drive over, I'm fucking Googling the shit out of this, right? And
hey Siri.
Right? And so I'm like, and he's like, no, I have no idea. They just want you to be there. I'm like, fuck. And so I'm getting really nervous because it's like, oh, I just built up a little bit of capital here. People like, you know, and I just didn't want to like get completely undermined and get thrown under the bus like that. And I'm so nervous. And we get there and we pull up and I go and say, yeah, because Dave wasn't there because they were like wildfires in California. And so he had to sort of deal with it where he lives and stuff. And John was there, and it was a scene where it was I think it was episode 4 where there was an Imperial base, and they were trying to destroy it. It was an Imperial base on Navarro.
Okay.
I'm like, okay, and they said, okay, so this is the setup, and I don't get a script of any other scenes except for my own, so I only know my slice of the pie, right? Yeah. And so this is other scene, like, okay, so this is what's happening. And they're talking about this base, and VFX they show me and say, okay, so basically there's a holographic emitter and it shows the planet Navarro, and then it breaks it down into a smaller map, and then there's another holographic projection of the actual base. I'm like, okay, and said, so here's a holo projector. I was like, yeah, how do we turn it on? And I was like, what? It's like, how do we what do we do to turn it on?
Just started like if it was. Yeah,
if it was. And I was like, oh. And it was just like, in Monty Python, when they're going, it's the bridge. It's like, what is your name? What do you seek? What's your favorite color? And then, John Cleese's character goes, that's easy. And he runs over and he's trying to answer the question. Yeah. So it's that moment for me. I go, I'm just going to bullshit the hell out of this, right? So I go, well, there's 3 buttons, and there's, you press, it's this sequence here. It's like middle, left, right. Yeah. So the middle one starts it, left one primes it, the right one, you're off to the races. And okay, great. And so how do we interact with it? I said, oh, well, like, it's probably going to be like in Return of the Jedi, where it just sort of pops up and you can refer to things on it. It's not like Minority Report where you're actually moving things and pressing like virtual buttons on the screen. Like, yeah, that's exactly it. And I did get a little bit of street cred because I was looking at the base and I said, oh, okay, so like you can see here, these are the big main turrets. These are for capital ships. This is point defense. So like if a cruiser shows up, they can blow it out of the sky. Here are the smaller turrets for snub-nosed fighters and stuff. So you got those there. So like they're like, oh, okay, yeah, no, he knows what he's talking about. This is really cool. And you know, here's the landing pad. And then that's when they asked the question about the hollow emitter, and I was like, oh, okay, because like really, like all things, but this shows how much they really care.
Yeah,
Right.
They wanted to get it right.
Yeah.
And it really is. It's like when I'm in that X-wing, when I'm in the cockpit, I work out a system of what do I need to do in the scene, keep it consistent, and in my mind, these are the actuators. This is for, you know, flight controls. This is for the landing, and I work out that configuration so that it is consistent when I'm in my cockpit doing whatever it is, right? So it's like, and it helps with continuity. It sells the realism. But it's not like I've studied the technical schematics for T-65B starfighter.
Is that a requirement?
I don't know. It sounded like he created an instruction manual there,
right?
Yeah. I mean, if it would have been me, I would have. Can I get a phone a friend? You know, like Sam Whitworth, please come in. You know.
Oh man, he's next level. I would love to meet him.
Yeah.
And chat. Like I'm a huge fan of his. He's so smart, so passionate. Like that dude. He knows it.
Yeah,
he's the
knows
man. He's the guy. He's the guy.
He knows everything. Yeah.
You want answers? You can go to him. He's the Wikipedia.
Yeah, that's crazy. I just, you know, being in that universe that you're in, and you know, we're sitting in here, you know, and all when we see the scenes when you're like, oh shit. Is that R5D4? Is there going to be an adventure of Captain, Teva with R5D4 because, you know, they were war vets together, and he actually said something to that effect. But I'm like, coming out to the sand, and you're seeing a whole group of Mandalorians in front of you. As an actor, as a kid that played with these figures like you, my jaw would have been on the fucking floor. Like, oh my God, look at these freaking Mandos. You know, I can only imagine. Can you share your experience with that?
Yeah, that was a crazy day. Like it was just so like my geek cup runneth over.
Wow.
All of that, because it's like, you know, like you say, it's R5D fucking 4.
Yeah.
He's there, right? Like I got my character now has a link to this droid that, depending on whose story, which narrative you're following, sacrificed himself so that R2 could go along with C-3PO, right? Like, you know, and so there's that sort of touchstone, which is super cool. And then again, to have all the Mandalorians there coming out, like there's nothing like seeing 30 armor-clad Mandalorians walk out. It's intimidating, and you've got the ones that are the snipers on the top, right? And then, you know, Tate Fletcher walks out as a heavy Mando, and the guy's a shit brick house, right? Like he's fucking huge, and he comes out and he's being all threatening. And then, of course, you know, you get the Mandalorian sauntering out, and he knows me, which is great. It's like, oh, hey, you know, it's like just like that for me was just like, oh my God, I need to change my flight suit because I soiled myself.
I mean, as a 5-year-old kid, I mean, you now have interacted. You stopped war crimes to be committed again by Chopper, because at that scene he was ready to kill that senator. You're in the scene with Mrs. Ewan McGregor, you know, Hera. You're in the same scene with C-3PO, Anthony Daniels.
Yeah. Oh my God.
These are, and then Princess Leia's name is being dropped. So you're connected to this universe and this web. And I'm like, holy cow, it's not that you're playing just like, hey, I'm a C character out there, you know, like Lobot. All right, Lobot, you know, is out there. But no, you're integral. I mean, you're an important character that your character has interacted with R5D4, Leia's people, as well as Chopper preventing future war crimes.
It still boggles my mind that all this is like, you know, I started off, it was like, you know, it was 2 episodes, 2 little sort of, I mean, there were nice scenes, but really just kind of like this guy that just sort of shows up and does his thing. And I've been very, very fortunate in that they've liked my work enough that they keep bringing me back and giving me more and more to do. And, you know, as a professional, that is for me the highlight, because that's what you want to do. You want to do such a good job just as an actor that they like your work and like, okay, yeah, let's bring him. He can carry more. He can do more. He can do more. And every time I go back, I feel a lot more comfortable. I mean, that first time on set, I was just like walking on eggshells, and I was just like so wide-eyed and like, oh my god,
Wow.
I'm fucking here. I can't believe that.
Yeah, you were in
And
an
Carl Weathers, God love the man,
Yeah.
was my first director ever
Wow.
on U.S. soil, and here he is, this freaking
Wow.
icon. And it was just like freaking out. I was a bit nervous, and then as time went on, I just got more comfortable in that world and who I was as a performer and where I fit in, and then the crew starts to know you, and that's the thing. It's that's when you really start to feel like you've made it, right? You're there. They keep calling you back, and everybody knows who you are, and they like your character, they like you as a person, and it's just, oh my, I still can't believe it. There's so many pinch me moments, and every time I go on set, I think there couldn't possibly be anything nerdier or more gratifying as a Star Wars fan. But every time I go, it ups the ante.
Yeah.
And that for me is just like that scene that we were talking about where he goes to the covert and there's R5D4. I remember we were doing a blocking rehearsal for that. It's first thing in the morning, and a lot of the actors who are playing the characters, when they have helmets on, they're not there because it's very onerous to have all that gear on, and they don't see your faces. So a lot of them get portrayed by stunt performers, right? They just somebody in the stand-in in the suit. It's Brendan Wayne in as the Mandalorian. Tate, he's still heavy Mando, so he's there.
Yeah.
And then Bo-Katan's in that scene, and we're doing the blocking. It's like 6 a.m. We're just starting, and Bo-Katan is there with her helmet on, and I'm thinking, oh, that's the stunt double for whatever. And we go, okay, so that's it for blocking. She takes off the helmet, and it's Katie Sackhoff.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Under there. And I was like, holy shit, it's you. And she looks at me like all surprised. I was like, oh, no, it's okay. I'm normal. It's just I didn't realize, I didn't think it was going to be you, right? I thought it was going to be, I'm so sorry. And it's just like,
I'm normal, huh?
I literally, I'm normal.
She's such an awesome person too. Yeah.
She is
But
great.
she was amazing. Like, and that's the other thing. The performers that they hire to be on, like, to play these characters, like Katie's a huge friggin' nerd herself.
Yeah,
she loves playing Bo-Katan. She's there for blocking rehearsal.
Yeah.
At 6:30 in the morning, she doesn't need to be there, but she's there.
Yeah.
Because she's like, that's part of her. Like, she wants to be on the ground floor so that she can play that part really well. Right. Same thing, like doing Ahsoka, like Rosario Dawson is incredible.
Wow.
The amount of like charisma that she has is incredible. And the way she makes people feel welcome and part of something is exciting. And she's a fantastic actor on top of all that.
Yeah.
Mary Elizabeth Winstead as Hera. Holy crap, man. Like, she's like, in terms of craft, she's there. In terms of a human being, she's more than there. She is so calming. It's just so chill. Like, I loved her vibe and her energy, and just really, really calm and serene, and everybody that I got a chance to hang out with, and Mike, who played Hu Yang as well. Like, he's amazing too, right? So it's a lot of fun. You get to hang out with all these people, and just sort of chill because you're working with them for so many days, right? And like Katie O'Brien as the comms officer, or Elia Kane, right? And Tim Meadows, like, being able to do a scene with the two of them, so much fun. And yeah, it's like a dream, man. Doing that, it's just so much fun.
Did you get a chance to interact with like Deborah Chow or
That's us. Go ahead.
She's
Deborah,
my favorite director.
Yeah, Deborah and I, we go way back.
No way.
Before, like she's from Canada. So I met her like almost 30 years ago, working at the Factory Theater in Toronto.
No way.
She was learning art. She was working in the office as an arts administrator. I was learning on a government grant. I was there to learn about arts administration, but the theater was going bankrupt, so there was nothing to do. And she wanted to get into film school, and she was like, hey, you just got out of acting school. Do you want to be in my short film that I'm shooting? I was like, yeah. So we shot for a day in Chinatown in Toronto. It was all MOS, no sound. And I was playing this private detective who was like searching for somebody. And then she disappeared. And I didn't see her for like 25 years until I went to Los Angeles one day and she jumped in front of me at this awards gala. And she said, "Do you remember me?" I was like, "Deborah, Jesus, yes. What the hell? Like, where have you been?" And she said, so that short film got her into Columbia Film School. And so she learned to be a director and she tried to work in Canada. But of course, you can't, there's not as much work up here. The domestic production up here isn't the best. It has nowhere near the scope or the scale it should be. So she went down to the States and started cutting her teeth directing episodes of Better Call Saul, Fear of the Walking Dead, Jessica Jones, all these. And so she said, "I'm working on The Mandalorian." I was like, "Fuck, you're working on it? That's so cool." "Oh, you've heard of it?" I was like, "Yeah, I fucking heard of it." And she said, "That's great because I've been trying to get in touch with you because Dave Filoni, do you know who that is?" Like, "Yeah, you fucking know who Dave is." He saw Kim's Convenience and he likes your work and he wants to write something for you. I was like,
wow.
Oh man, that's awesome.
Dude,
I remember
awesome.
everything going black except for her, like the spotlight on her. I remember reaching out and grabbing her by the arm and like looking deeply, deeply into her eyes and saying, "You do realize I have like 9 Star Wars costumes at home?" Like, "Really?" I said, "Yes." And she said, "Send them to me." So I send her the pics. She texts them to Dave like on the spot. And he texts back saying, "Oh, well, he just show up on set with his costumes." Just fit right in. I'm like, "Oh,
man."
So that's what got the ball rolling. And so for me, it was, Deb said, "What are you doing tomorrow?" It's like, "Oh, I'm flying back to Canada." She said, "Oh, I was going to invite you to the set to see what we're doing."
Oh,
"Can I come back?" She said,
Cancel
"Yeah."
the flight.
So I said,
Yeah, right. I can't.
Yeah, right.
Give me 2 weeks. So I came back 2 weeks later, got a set visit, which was, and then, they had to pull a lot of strings to let me because Disney did not want anybody on set. But when Dave Filoni says, no, bring him. Like, so Dave had to call in a favor, which I like, for me, it's like, oh my God,
wow,
never met the man before. And that's how awesome Dave is. So I got to watch Deborah do some work, direct her scene, and they're shooting concurrent at the same time. And I got to watch Dave direct his episode. I saw the volume for the first time.
wow.
I
cool.
met Jon Favreau for the first time. And then the big thing was I saw Grogu for the first time. Now this is before, and I remember seeing him go, "What the fuck is that? Oh my God." Don't tell anybody. Like, I am not ruining this for anybody.
Yeah.
Like, that was just, and I got to hang out with the props department for like 2 hours. And just Josh Roth, who is like he's the props guy. He's been on every series, all the Mandalorian seasons, and Ahsoka, and just chatting with him, and then getting a tour of everything with Dave. Showed me around, so I got to go to the costume department.
Oh
right?
man!
So props and costumes. Joseph Porro was the costume designer for season 1, so I got to go in and see all the sketches of the costumes that they were designing, and then I got to see the racks of wardrobe, and all this stuff. And then after
this is before the Mandalorian even airs. We just know as fans it's coming.
Oh,
so
yeah.
You're seeing, gee.
And so I'm dying on so many levels because it's so cool, and I'm like, this is gonna just knock it out of the ballpark. And then to go out to cap it off, you go out for dinner with Dave and Deb.
Nice.
Oh, just a little dinner, huh? Just a little dinner.
Sure.
Oh my God.
Sure. I'm Alice in Wonderland. This is me, like this is Dorothy in Oz. I am on the other side. And 6 months later, get a call from Lucasfilm. They want to know if you're available to shoot.
Sure.
Yeah. So,
sure.
And there you go.
I heard you missed the first call.
Yeah.
Podcast. They called you and you missed the first call.
I was eating KFC.
What, the Korean fried chicken or Kentucky fried chicken?
No, Dirty Bird, man. KFC. I love that shit. I do. I love So
The only reason why I brought it up is because I am a KFC fan and my wife makes fun up, what are you doing eating that garbage? I'm like, what are you talking about? This is the best thing in life.
yeah.
So
No, it's not like I was. It's not like I was
love
sitting
junk
there
food.
in my underwear with like grease down my chest doing the fire tuck thing. We actually, my family, we were sitting around a table at home, and we'd ordered a bucket, and I was like giving out the food, and my phone was in my pocket, and I was like, I couldn't get to it in time, and then when I finally was able, the food was served, and I checked, I know it's terrible to have a phone at the table, but I checked, and it was like, I missed the phone call from Jon Favreau. I was like,
Oh my God.
so they called back.
Yeah.
Which is great. I didn't tell him why I missed the phone call, but I was like, yeah, no, I'm sorry. We're just, but it was John and Dave, and they wanted to talk about the character that I was going to be playing. And it was pretty cool. Like, it's like I'm talking on the phone with Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni.
Yeah.
And I'm eating fried chicken.
Yeah.
I'm eating KFC.
It's just gonna get any better.
Yeah, I am living my best fucking life right now.
You're literally 1 degree away from George Lucas.
Yeah.
1 degree away from George Lucas.
Yeah.
It's like unbelievable.
That's awesome.
That's a good segue to this question.
Yeah.
So
you read it, bro.
Marcel Cheneri wants to know. So Marcel's awesome artist, by the way,
Amazing.
He's Canadian too.
and he's Canadian as well. Yeah. So do you have any input on your character story arc, or your character story, and what story arc would you give him if you could?
Yeah.
And thanks for being here.
Thank you. Great question. Absolutely have no input. Nobody asked me, which is fine. they got a handle on things, which is great. Super creative. I'm at the point where like I'm along for the ride and I'm loving every minute of it. And whatever they ask me to do, I'll do, because I just have gotten so much out of this, and I don't want to be greedy and sort of like, it's not about me. This is a whole. They have a plan where they want the characters to go. Certain things have to happen. Just because we're set, there's a timeline, and we know what's going to happen to the New Republic because of the sequel trilogy, right? So like, there's all, and they're filling in the gaps and they're propping it up, much like the Clone Wars did with in the gap between episodes 1, 2, and 3. Right. There's when those movies came out, there were a lot of leaps, and people were like, "This doesn't make sense." And then Dave comes in with the Clone Wars and Rebels, and they prop it all up and they fill in the gaps. And suddenly you go, oh, okay, this totally makes sense now. Which, in my mind, the theory is that's why everybody looks back at the prequel trilogy and goes, "Oh, it wasn't as bad as I thought." It's like, yeah, I know there are big leaps. There are big leaps, but you now have full context, so those movies don't seem as abrupt anymore. So there is that, and so. I think nobody's told me this, so this is just these are my views. They do not reflect Lucasfilm or Disney any. But my feeling is that's what they're doing here, because it makes sense, because there's so many stories to tell, and there's so many really smart ways of linking what's going on that it just makes sense. So for Carson Teva, I mean, I love what how he's evolved. How he's become intrinsically sort of associated not only with where we're at with The Mandalorian, but they're slowly threading in that he's been part of it all along. From the original trilogy, right? His connection with R5D4 is a great one. The fact that Hera, and he knows General Syndulla. Yeah. He's been there. There's a level of comfort. He breaks orders. And Zeb, right?
Zeb.
Brilliant. So that's amazing. And the fact that he's this dude that he's a veteran of the Galactic Civil War. He didn't just like turn in his commission and go off to the civilian life. He's re-upped and he's joined the New Republic. He knows that he is severely undermet, but he believes in the idea of the New Republic. But he's a realist enough to know that there's something going on. Yeah. And as much as he's trying to warn people, it's falling on deaf ears just because there's so much more that the core worlds deem as important, right? And it's those, they go, this is a little problem. Well, the little problems, when they add up, become big problems.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what I love. And you're seeing more of it with the Imperial remnants. Braun has returned,
Yeah.
right? Like all these
Yeah.
things are happening that lead to the New Republic falling. And so I'm just like, to be a part of that is like incredible. Incredible. Like this is for a 5-year-old kid back in the day watching Star Wars to now a 50-year-old man actually playing a character that is going to be part of that lore. You have no idea how this is blowing my mind.
Oh.
I'm the luckiest son of a bitch ever
Absolutely.
to be
Yeah.
here.
You're connected in all the movie or in all the shows now.
It's crazy. It's crazy. And as a fan, it's a huge responsibility for me. And I'm not talking work wise. I'm talking as an ambassador, as somebody outside of it, like outside of what's on the screen. So talking with podcasts and sharing my experiences and doing that, being that conduit for the fans is important for me because I'm a fan too. And I want to give people that same sort of feeling that I have of absolute joy, bewilderment, and like just to have people live vicariously through me I take that seriously. Like I've been granted an awesome opportunity and in my mind, a responsibility to share that joy and to spread that sort of coolness about Star Wars and to just go, hey, the people who work on the show love the show and care about it and are committed to it. And so that's where I take it because I'm not privy to what's going on above my pay grade, right? But what I can control is talk about how amazing my experiences on it were. And so,
And the fan base loves you.
Oh, yeah.
They love your characters. So it's like, I mean, it's great.
It's
I mean,
a story.
tuned into one of your live streams one time when I think it was like during season 2 of The Mandalorian, or maybe Book of Boba Fett. And then I commented in your chat that I was really hoping to see you in some kind of space battle, like being able to actually fight in the X-wing. Yeah. And then in Ahsoka, you guys come out of hyperspace and then you go, you even say the line to lock as foils in attack position. And I was like, oh, this is awesome. You know, and then all that happens and I was like, oh shit. I'm like, is he gonna die? I'm like, what's going on? I mean, I care about the character.
Thanks. Yeah, no, I loved it. It was, and that's the thing. I was so heartwarmed. Like it warmed my heart when people were so afraid that I was going to get knocked off. Right. In Mando season 3, when he comes across that Imperial shuttle, right? The Lando class shuttle, it's all shot, and everybody, it's like the music's creepy. Yeah. And everybody's like, oh fuck, this is where he's gonna get nuked. Oh my god.
There's death troopers on board, they're gonna kill him.
Yeah. And everybody was like, if Teva dies, we riot. And I love that. Like that honestly like meant so much to me. And it just was like, oh. So I have no idea what the future holds for my character. I would love to continue on with it. I've heard a few theories where people are like, well, to have the maximum impact, he should die. And I'm like, oh,
nah.
I get it.
I don't want you to die.
I get it.
We'll get rid of them.
Wedge Antilles hasn't died that we know of. And Wedge was amazing.
Right.
Yeah.
To me, Wedge was like absolutely a must, and I love that he was one of the main heroes of episode 6. It wasn't Luke. Luke redeemed his father. Luke was busy. But Wedge was in there with Lando, and like the guys who were in the behind, they came to the front because the heroes were doing something else. I'm like, God damn, that's awesome. Yeah. So you don't need to die. Period. What we do need is maybe more, especially that the rumor was hearing and about Star Wars what ifs. We could get the stories of Carson with R5 and in a what if, hopefully animated format. Because I love that. That'd be so much fun. With Dave Filoni at the helm, oh gosh. Yeah. That guy plays gold with animation.
I think the coolest thing is that when you were a kid, you were playing with these toys, and now you're playing with the actual, as real as it can be.
Yeah, right.
Toys.
Right?
Right.
Yeah.
Now you're canon.
Something about
now you're canon.
Physicalization, of these things. Like I used to pretend like we'd have my parents had a restaurant, so we would get crates of oranges in like cardboard boxes, and there would be levels, like they'd have slats in them, and then you'd lift out. There'd be like 4 levels of oranges, and you pull, and you'd have this big box, and I would take the boxes, and I was small enough to sit inside one of them, and I would draw with magic marker all the controls for an X-wing, right? And I would sit in that box and pretend I'm in an X-wing. You know, you flash forward.
I get the real thing.
45 years later, and I'm in an actual mock-up of an X-wing in a virtual stage, in full costume with a helmet.
Yeah, and it's not a 501st costume. At this point, they're calling you, what do we need for the Carson Teva costume? Because you're physically there. You know?
That X-wing that you were in, that's the one that's at Galaxy's Edge. You were in like an actual like X-wing or body. Anyway.
Yeah. So the car, as I understand, the cockpit was actually the one that they used in Rogue One.
Okay.
So it's not the full nosed one. It's not the big one. They do have one. Yes. That we did for exterior shots. So when I land for that scene with the Mandalorian covert, there was a full size one that I had to climb in and out of. Yes, that one did get transported to Galaxy's Edge, I believe. But for the most of the stuff, they have a cockpit with the nose sort of shaved off, like removed, just so they can get the camera in there for certain angles and whatnot. But they repurpose a lot of things from the movies, which is cool, like costume bits.
Yeah.
Like you saw in season 2 of Mandalorian, the armored the tank trooper outfits are actually from Solo, a Star Wars story. They're the Mud Troopers, right? They repurpose that armor. So all these great little crossovers, but these are all screen used costume pieces, which is just like, you know. And then for Ahsoka too, I remember Shauna giving me a tour of they were building all these things. Now, again, I don't get scripts, so I don't know what's going on, but she's showing me, it's like, oh yeah, check that out over there. And it's like, are those Night Sisters? Like I just I'm like, oh my god, where are we going with this? And like your brain starts to go, and then I saw all the Night Troopers with the sashes, like all their armor being laid out, and it's just like dozens of set of armor, like spread. This is a huge warehouse space, and it's like, oh my god, this is going to be epic. And so it's that peek behind the curtain, which is fantastic. Yeah. As a fan, as a nerd, it's just like done, dead.
Benjamin.
That's pretty funny. It'd be funny if Paul applied for Carson Teva's CRL and was denied.
so Benjamin and his wife Robin are both 501st, and she's actually a CRL for an Imperial female officer.
There you go. Perfect. Congratulations. That's the race. You want to be first. It's interesting though, because I'm actually, so I am I did earn my membership into the 501st. I had to submit a costume. I have, I think 4 costumes that are approved. Nice. For the 501st, but they're all Imperial. So the 501st, that's the Empire, basically. Right. The Rebel Legion, they do the Rebels, and I'm an honorary member, but I've been pushing it off for so long because I wanted to submit a costume and I wanted to earn it to get in there. And I had an X-Wing costume, but the way you get the costume approved is vastly different from the 501st. Wow. There's an international cabal of judges, so you have to like do a photo dump into like some sort of a shareable like Dropbox thing, and then all the judges look at it, and then they make the decision. So it's a very long process because it's not just one person looking at it. It's like, I think 9 different people looking at it.
Wow.
And then you could get all these different, different notes from different things. And it takes a while to sort of go through that process.
Wow.
And so I just never got around to it. Right. And I just kept pushing it off. And then finally I was just like, the Legion CEO, I was starting to feel bad because I kept saying no to him. And so he was like, I said, okay, I will begrudgingly accept this, but I with the full intention of still applying and getting my X-Wing costume in there. And somebody has said, you should go for Carson Teva. And how meta would that be if the guy who plays it is in the CRL? That would be the first time ever.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah,
that is amazing.
I think there's probably a race. Somebody's probably already done it. at this point. But that's a tough one because Carson Teva, depending on like the Mandalorian, has many different looks, not only in his flight suit, but now because of Ahsoka, you have the different like the different uniform looks in Mando season 3.
Right.
But the flight suit itself is different from like how it's done up and in very, very subtle ways. And so I know because I know I'm in it. So I know what's different from each iteration of him. So if somebody does drop a Carson Teva, I could drop one and like this is the season 3 variant.
Right.
Or this is the Book of Boba Fett variant, right? Like there's all these little changes, but I probably still get denied.
Did you photograph make
it? I'm sorry?
Did you photograph the suit so that you can eventually make it?
No, photographs are not allowed.
No? Okay.
Photos are confiscated, I'm pretty sure.
No, they trust you. They trust you.
Okay.
Photographs are not allowed, but it's interesting because if you make friends with the props department and wardrobe, you can see the stuff up front and you can see where it's sourced from, and you can go, okay, I don't need a picture of this because I know. So the flight suit I know is tailored. They made that from scratch, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The flak vests, I know the makers of the fabricators of them, right? The flak vest, the chest boxes as well. They're from Rogue One. And they got those sourced from a company called Far and Away Creations. The helmets, same thing. Far and Away Creations, which is a modification of the Anovos sort of mold. I have my my 1-to-1 replicas recreation replica. That's what it of my helmet. Yeah. And it's sourced from Far and Away Creations, the same one that they used in production. So I got one of those, and Frank Ippolito, who painted my helmet for season 2, reached out and said, "Hey, I did your helmet. If you want me to do a helmet for you."
Nice.
So it is like as close as I can get to it being,
That's perfect, man.
But even then, we've modified the helmet that I use on set to accommodate different things, like a mic pack, where like the battery or the transmitter, right, fits into the helmet. So certain elements, and I know which ones have been removed to make room for this thing, right? Wow. So there's all these subtle little things that only somebody who's been in the costume would know, right? And same thing with it's funny because the eternal argument always is, well, what color are the pants, or what color is this, what color is that? And then you see that for example, people say, well, it's depending on what kind of light they use, like what's the temperature of the light, because at certain temperatures, colors look different. So yeah, you could say it's gray, but it's really blue, and the light temperature they use changed it, and blah, blah, blah. And I remember seeing on this forum, there's this huge argument about Fleet Troopers pants. What color are they? Are they gray? Are they light gray? Are they dark gray? Are they blue? Whatever. And there was a spirited back and forth. And I remember going to see, I was on set in the costume department, and there was a whole rack of them up on the wall. And I'm looking at, oh, okay. And I knew what color they were. And I'll tell you, they were all of them. They went from light gray all the way to dark gray.
Wow.
Wow.
Because honestly, they're background characters. They're not in the foreground. Yeah. And what they're looking for is uniformity in terms of style. And everybody knows different lights, they're going to read as different colors. So it doesn't really matter. Yeah. So the answer is all of them. All of them. But I know if I ever went on a forum and said, well, I was actually there and it's this, I'd still get shot down.
Oh, yeah.
People go, you don't know what you're talking about. Yeah. Because people sometimes they get so set in what they believe that they won't listen to somebody who's actually been there. Yeah. Right. Or they call it your credibility. It's like, are you missing? Like, if there's in a picture, it didn't happen type thing. Right.
Yeah.
So it is, that kind of insider baseball stuff, which is kind of cool as a performer too, right? Like, oh yeah, that's Grogu's. When you look at the sideshow's got a statue of Grogu 1-to-1, right? And the tunic that he wears is awesome. But I had this long conversation with the woman who actually created that tunic, and she's like, yeah, like with legacy effects, and she's like, yeah, no, it's very accurate, but here's one thing that I know because I built it that's on the inside that no one would ever know unless you built it. Yeah. and so that's the little thing that she has.
That's awesome.
For that, so yeah, those are great on the outside, but on the inside they're completely inaccurate. I love that.
Yeah.
It's just like
So I was talking about that. What is your favorite Grogu? Hot Toys or Sideshow?
Good question.
I like them both. They both have their strengths and weaknesses. I will say the Sideshow, the tunic is way better than the one in the Hot Toys. I love the posability of the Hot Toys one though. The fact that you can articulate the mouth and show the little teeth and change the ears is great. The hands as well. I do like the feeling of the silicone on the Hot Toys one though. Just it's a statue for Sideshow and it's great, but it doesn't feel right. And that's for me, it's like, I got to hold baby. I got to hold Grogu, right? And he's beautiful, right? And so like that's the tactileness of it. It's like, oh, that's what I expect. And so the Sideshow one is a statue. The Hot Toys one has more of that silicone feeling to it, so it feels more accurate, if that makes any sense.
Nice.
And, but the also the hair, the little tufts of hair that are on, you just need them on the ears. So both of them are lacking that too. But and they're both really, really great. They're both really great. You can't go wrong with either of them.
They're awesome.
I gotta get the Sideshow one to modify it for my suit.
Chop it up.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Everybody chops them up and puts the little camera balls on them. And,
you can move them.
Yep.
So Justin has a question here. He says, first off, I love your character and the fun boxing Sundays, but that's awesome. I love that show too. Second, is there a collectible that you strive to have but don't have it yet?
Oh, so many. Oh my God. I'm terrible. Let me see. There are, yes, many that I would love to have. But I don't have yet. God, it's like that whole, what character would you want to play?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
but like in terms of must-haves that are not in my collection that I would love to have, there are the Star Wars stuff it's kind of like there's so much stuff coming out. It's great. Like I can always sort of scratch that itch and wait for, because there are constant releases of coming out. Like the Return of the Jedi Han is finally coming out. So I'll finally get a Han Solo in the collection, which is great.
How do you feel about that portrait?
What's that?
How do you feel about that portrait on the Han Solo, on the Hot Toys?
You know what? Everybody kind of shits all over it and stuff. I don't mind it. It's like the hair is the hair. It's like, fuck, it's a 1/6 scale figure. Like, fucking relax. And I get it, but that's not going to be the finished mold necessarily, right?
True.
Like,
Right.
they still it's coming out in 2026.
Well, they definitely won't now.
yeah. Well, I think that's what they do that too, right? They release it, get the feedback, and they're like, all right, this is what we need to go fix.
Yeah.
But you know, the hair is the hair. The face is the sculpt of the face. I think I like a lot. So the hair it's close enough for rock and roll for me. It's better than I think. And he looks different from A New Hope, right? So that look, because he's older in Return of the Jedi. When you see that aging process, because 6 years have gone by since they shot that. So the costume, I don't like. I've been reading about it. Some people have an issue with the stitching on the costume, whether the camouflage is enough or not. Some people wanted the Bespin look as well. They wanted the blue jacket and stuff like that. And I think you'll get that eventually. Because once they get that that face mold in, then everything else is it's just going to fall into place, and it'll be like the 50th anniversary of Return of Empire or whatever, and then so we'll get that. But I don't mind it. I honestly don't mind it, and I'm willing to wait. Like, that's 2026 Paul's problem right now. Like it'll come and get close. I'm just really happy to get a Han Solo. With that, right? And I mean, I'm a bit of a whore anyways. Like Hot Toys comes out, I'm like, and
How many Hot Toys do you have now?
I have over.
I have a shame to say.
Yeah, I have over 100.
Nice.
There's no shame here.
Yeah, and like I can't wait for the Ahsoka because like the Hera and the Sabine
Yes.
are, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like they're
fantastic.
yeah. What got me into it was my first ever hot toy I bought secondhand from a friend of mine, and it was the Hoth Leia.
Oh, lucky.
And it was, I got it for a song. It was unopened. He said,
Oh,
I got to get rid of it because I have no place to display it. This needs to be displayed. I got it secondhand, but it was unopened. I opened it up and I flipped out because that was such a beautiful paint app. The sculpt, it looked like, it freaked me out because she looked like a miniature, exactly what she was. She looked like it was alive. Like they just shrunk down Carrie Fisher. And I was like, oh my God. And then I started to notice the detail in the clothing, right? The jacket. It was immaculate and it was properly fitted. So it didn't look like doll's clothes, right? It was just like, oh my God, this is the ultimate action figure. And if they're all like this, now I understand why it's such a steep price point.
Yeah.
And then that's what got it started. And then I was like, okay, well, let's get another one. It's like, oh, we need another one.
He's a Luke Skywalker.
And then every 2 weeks they go out on pre-order. So it's like another pre-order, another pre-order, another pre-order.
Exactly, right? And then that's the thing. And so like I have so much stuff. Like I ordered when I was in Vancouver shooting Avatar: The Last Airbender. It was COVID. I was away from my family. And I was just like retail therapy. It's like, ooh, pre-order. And I was just like, yeah. But they're all starting to show up now. And my wife's like, what are you doing? And I was like, I ordered this like 2 years ago. She said, yeah, you ordered these 2 years ago.
My wife always teases me about that.
Yeah. And it's like, no, but it's true. I'll show you the orders. I was in Vancouver.
My wife is telling me, you need to make a shirt that says it was on pre-order 2 years ago. She doesn't believe me.
That's
so that's what you were doing in the hotels. Now we know.
Yeah, just trying to fill that hole with toys.
Toys and spicy ramen. I remember you did a lot of spicy ramen in the hotel.
Oh my God. Just stuff to do, you know, because like you're there. It's like you can't go out because of COVID. If you get sick, you delay production. And because it's like they call it the 10-day cruise, right? Because 5 days minimum, like you have to isolate and you have to have a mask on the next 5 days, like for the whole 10 days, and then you get tested. No, you don't. They won't test you again for 3 months. But I mean, like I caught COVID while I was out there. I dodged it until I went out to Vancouver, and then I had to isolate for like a month because somebody else caught COVID, and so I pushed. And then somebody else caught COVID and I pushed it again. Wow. And by that point I was going insane because it was raining. And I was undisciplined. And it was just like, yeah, I'm going to go out. And then I got COVID. Right. And then so it was me that delayed it. And I felt like shit. I was like, I'm so sorry.
Wow.
Right.
So then you have to go on sideshowcollectibles.com every day.
Right?
Use those reward points. Remember, use those reward points.
Oh, they've helped me out in a pinch. And so it's one of those things where now it's like I gotta try to stay in my lane, right? Because now I'm kind of looking because X06 they're doing 1/6 scale Star Trek figures.
Star Trek,
those are good.
Yeah, and like man, so like there's Lieutenant Savick. I'm like, fuck, okay, like that's a gorgeous looking sculpt. Like they're not on par yet with Hot Toys, but they're close, and the price point is great. It reflects that they're cheap. And then Commander Kruge, like Christopher Lloyd's character. I'm like, fuck, okay, I gotta get him.
Yeah.
But the big trio, I guess this comes back. We're looping around. We're coming back to it. Kirk, Spock, and McCoy with the Monster Maroons from Star Trek 2. That's what I want, and then I'm jumping out of Star Trek because I got the. I'm an original series guy, right? Wrath of Khan is my favorite Star Trek movie.
Yeah, great movie.
And then it's like, but that being said, I got Mirror Universe Sulu, Mirror Universe Spock.
Spock, gotta have him.
And then what else did I get? Oh, fuck. I got a lot. Pike from Strange New Worlds. I got him, Christopher Pike. It's great. I love that
series. Is fantastic.
I love it.
It feels the most like the original series. I mean, Star Trek got so serious and so heavy, and it was just like, holy crap, guys, like, come on, cheer up, right? Like, it was supposed to be this bright, sort of hopeful part of the future. And then, I still haven't seen Picard season 3, which is phenomenal.
It was great.
From what I've
Yeah.
heard.
Right.
Started it.
And to that end, I've ordered like Commander Data. I got him. And
Yeah.
again, these figures are they're good. They're not Hot Toys good, but they're good, right?
They're good.
Which is kind of my relationship with Star Wars and Star Trek. Star Trek is good. It's not as good as Star Wars, but it's good.
Yeah.
Like,
it
I
always
still
filled that
love it.
void. It filled that void when we didn't have Star Trek.
Yeah, I mean, so it was. Like, I
When
mean,
we
I
didn't have
love
Star
both
Wars,
franchises, and I cosplay in both universes, right? Which is so much fun. But
yeah, the Mirror Universe was awesome. I see the Spock now, and I remember as a kid that had me thinking, I'm like, what the hell? There's an alternate universe, and that's really where your mind starts tripping. You're like, wait a second, and every Star Trek show went back to the Mirror Universe, and you're like, oh, this continued. So it's awesome.
Absolutely.
I had a quick question. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Frankie.
So real quick. So what is your favorite Star Wars movie?
Hitting you with the hard
It all comes back around again, huh?
Yeah.
He's like, I'm gonna get that answer.
Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah,
Empire.
nice.
Close second, and this bumped A New Hope out of the number 2 spot. Rogue One.
Oh yeah.
Rogue One bumped it just because it's different.
But you have to thank A New Hope for that.
100%. 100%.
Right.
That being said, in terms of just because it's newer, I love how it ties in.
Yeah.
I love the diversity of the cast. I love the stakes that it brings in because it's like Andor on Disney Plus, right? It's in the Star Wars universe, but it's not about a plucky group of there's no when you watch Star Wars, I was never afraid that Han Solo or Luke Skywalker or Princess Leia were going to get killed.
Right.
Never for a second. I was like, "Ooh, they're in danger. They get caught." Never got that feeling of it, right? Rogue One was more like they are scared shitless. Like the rebellion, they're all still separate. They can't agree on things. Half of them want to cut and run. The other half are like, "No, we got to fight." There's so many gray areas, and it was just like Star Wars for adults. That's what they say Andor is. It's Star Wars for adults. So and not to say that it's better, it's just different, which is what I liked about it. It's different. Star Wars has its place in my heart forever and a day. And it is, again, and I say this about all the different, if you're watching the Clone Wars, animated, Bad Batch, all these things, there's room in the universe for different styles of storytelling for different groups of people, whatever you like. I'm not going to yuck your yum, right? That's the thing. You can have a show like Andor with high political stakes, intrigue, all that stuff in there, but you can have a fun rip-ass adventure like The Mandalorian. One doesn't make it better than the other, and I hate this comparison that's going on there. Everything else is trash. Andor is the best. It's like, well, okay, you can like Andor more because it speaks to you as more of an adult, but it doesn't mean all the other stuff is garbage or not worth anything or doesn't have value, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're just different ways of telling these stories.
Right.
And you can find joy in all of it. So it's not a contest. That's what I say about fandom. Fandom's not a contest. It's not about who knows more. It's not about who has more. It's not about any of that stuff. Fandom is about sharing your love, your passion for something with other people and wanting to learn about it and lifting each other up and sharing that. That's what true fandom is. It's not a gatekeeping, this is all mine, none of yours. That's sad, man.
It is.
I don't understand people who, if you purport to be a fan and love something so much that you're pushing people away from it. That's not fandom, man.
Yeah,
it really isn't. So,
fandom is inclusive, like you said.
Well said.
Yeah, that's why I left a lot of the Facebook groups because it's so negative and toxic. Yeah, I'm like, come on, I'm here to share my passion, and you're over here bashing me because you don't like it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, no, totally agree, Paul. Good words.
Speaking of the fandom, do you ever watch any of the fan films?
Oh, I do.
Have you seen them?
Yes, I have.
What'd you
yes,
think?
I have. Yeah, that's honestly, that's great. It's I love the fact, and these guys, they don't English is their second language,
Right.
which I love. It's just like it didn't detract for me. If anything, it added to the whole idea of this is a universal conflict, right? Like with the stories involved. I mean, the production values are great, really compelling characters. And the biggest compliment I can give it, which is, and this is a terrible thing to say, but it didn't feel like a fan film. You know, there are different levels
Felt great.
of just production values, and some are very limited, but they're doing the best they can. And it's not to disparage them. It's like you're doing what you can do given the constraints of technology, time, money, and what's available to you. And for me, if it's about story, the production stuff is icing on top, right? And so when I say it didn't feel like a fan film, it felt more complete. Like I like the idea that the narrative was clear. There were characters that I was intrigued by. I was rooting for them. And then you add the production elements on top of that. And it's just like, oh, well, that's great. Right. And it was, I mean, it's over 20 minutes. Right.
That was great.
For a fan film.
It was like a movie. Yeah.
That's an episode. That's like a 30-minute episode of TV. Right. So
and they did really good justice to the dogfight in space. I mean, that was like, holy cow! They made the ships move like you expect them to move in your head.
Yeah, and seeing how much damage these ships can take and still function, which I love. Right, whole wings blown off.
Yeah, and they're still flying.
Yeah, and it just making it.
So there's hope for your X-wing.
Oh, I love that thermal detonator scene where they just released all the thermal detonators.
Yeah, that was a great idea by them.
Oh, it's fantastic. Yeah, they opened up a lot of other things that fan films could do.
Yeah, so I love that. I think it's there's so much creativity out there, and there's such a passion for it. So,
Rosa wants to know if you have any favorite clone.
Oh man, yeah. Oh shit.
Yeah,
I know that's a really tough one. It's like
Bad Batch character.
Yeah, like pick your kid. Like, who's your favorite kid?
It's the one that looks like Tomorrow.
Yeah. I've never really thought of it in that term, but I mean, honestly, Captain Rex for me is kind of the epitome of the guy who's risen above what he was, right? And he's become so much more. His dedication towards wanting to save his brothers. The Bad Batch, they're all cool. They're different because, with Hunter wanting to say, let's stay low, let's stay out of the fight. And just trying to like live a normal life. I understand that completely, but it's just like the sense of duty that I said duty. Captain Rex, sorry, I'm 5 years old, has in terms of wanting to save his brothers. I think there's something very noble about that. And I do like that he's there and that he's been there, like with Ahsoka and with Anakin and, the fact that he was part of the 501st.
Yeah.
And, has turned the corner there. Echo is I love like that. So then it's that whole umbrella, that spider web of all the clones that were part of that original group, right? Yeah. Jesse, Fives, Echo, all that whole gang right there was and that makes it that much more heartbreaking to see what happens to them and how they are turned because of that friggin' chip in their heads, right? And some escape and some don't. And like Commander Cody, so glad they brought him back. And now it's like, oh, what's going on?
Yes.
Where did he go? Are we gonna see him again? Like, that's cool. I love that.
Yeah.
So
definitely. All right. This question: what is your favorite scene in the Mandalorian series? Do you have one anyway?
They're all so friggin' cool. Favorite scene in the Mandalorian.
Oh, to put you on the spot.
Yeah, I know. My whole it's just my brain is going through all of that. It's that whole moment, season 1, like almost right at the beginning, like just that introduction to the Mandalorian, right? Like they're at that bar on that ice planet, and the door opens. He just comes in. This is our introduction to the main character,
It's like the equivalent of Vader walking in on the tank
and like,
door.
oh, what the hell? And like he's such a bad. He just rolls up. He's at the bar, and that's Tate Fletcher, the guy who plays a heavy Mando, who's like, "You made me spill my drink."
Yeah.
And they go, and then you just see how lethal he is, right? And that one, the corn dude, he tries to run out the door, and he gets him with the repelling hook, and he drags him back in. And he's still shooting at him, and he closes the door, cuts him in half. Like, oh, God. Holy shit, he just got cut in half by a door.
Yeah.
Like, everybody's thought of that at one point, going, isn't that kind of dangerous? And they just proved, it's very dangerous, right?
What I loved about that was they had announced, I think before the show had come out, that in like in the video games, there was going to be no more dismemberments. And so to have that in the show was great.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, yeah, they're still going to do that.
Yeah. So like those are like images in my head that just sort of go, I mean, season 3, there's, that scene with the covert was so, I mean, that for me was just like one guy, 40 Mandos going out there.
Yeah. You got big balls to stand up.
That was brave.
And what I love is, because I'd be shitting my pants. I'd be like, don't shoot me. No, please don't shoot me. But he's just like, hey, like I just got something to tell you. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Right. And just how he just sort of, he's been under fire before, right? Like he's experienced. So I love that.
He's an experienced captain. Speaking about your scenes and stuff and some of the best scenes, you are the only person that got to be with Zeb.
Yeah.
And you had to act that. And I know you said you don't get the whole script. You only get your piece. Did they tell you in advance it was going to be Zeb?
Nope.
You didn't know.
No.
Wow.
It said in the script, it said Lasat pilot.
Wow.
Did you think it was going to be Zeb?
I knew it was going to be fucking him. Fucking knew. How many Lasat pilots are going to be?
Of course.
Fucking knew. Although, they wouldn't say it. No one would admit it.
Right.
But, it's like, I didn't just fall off the turnip truck or the mailing cart.
I'm not just
it's like I suspected, I highly suspected it would be, because I thought that would be, it's a missed opportunity.
Yeah,
and
right.
I think it was amazing, and I wish, it was fun to see people's reaction videos. About it.
Our jaws dropped when it was Zeb. It's like, oh my God.
Yeah, I know, man. It was
yes, he's alive. And then he's wearing his blue. Uniform,
he's got the blueberry outfit on.
Yeah, you're like,
New Republic Blues.
Yeah, so it was so good.
What did you have to act against? Is it like Ahmed Best had to do as Jar Jar with this headpiece or something?
No, there was a huge dude, and he had a gray jump like bodysuit on with all the dots on him. So he had the ridiculous sort of headband with the dots on it and stuff.
Okay,
really nice guy, but he was big. He was big.
And
he just sort of came in and said his lines. I was like, oh, hey, how's it going? Right. Just sort of chatting with him. And I said, so do you know who you're playing? He says, well, he just says he's some Lasat pilot. I said, yeah, but I think you know who it is. You suspect, and I suspect, and I think we're both right.
And Filoni's in the back saying, shh.
Filoni's sitting at the, at the bar, right?
Yeah.
And so the guy that I'm talking to in the long shot, the wide shot, is Doug Chang, who's a production designer, which was great. And Deb's there, and Rick is there, and Dave is there, and then later on in the other scene at the end, Peter Ramsey is there, Lee Isaac Chung is there, like all the directors are dressed up. And then, fun fact, the rest of the background performers were all people from ILM. Who worked on the VFX, so they got to dress up in costume and be in the scene, which is
that's cool.
That's cool.
That's cool.
It's a great reward,
Absolutely.
Yeah, 100%.
For Ahsoka, that big scene with Senator Ziono and C-3PO. So the gang sitting behind me were the director, the producer, and one of the writers for The Bad Batch.
Nice. Oh, wow.
Yeah, which was so cool, right? So it's just
great,
and then Anthony freaking Daniels, right?
Yeah,
that's cool.
Holy shit!
I bet that had to be something for you.
Oh,
Man, that's royalty right there. Star Wars royalty. He's
Mhm.
been in every single. That character's been in every single movie.
Yeah.
And he is a delight. He's still in the suit.
Wow.
It still fits, and
Right.
not only like we were so like transfixed with him because we're doing a blocking rehearsal, and he's not in his costume, but and everybody stopped, and you could fucking hear a mouse fart. It was so quiet. And
Oh, gotta use that one.
he comes shuffling in.
Right.
He shuffles in, and he's doing his lines, and we're all like,
Yeah.
and he says it, and then he stops, and we're all like, what's going on? Why is he stopped? And he turns to Nelson, who's playing Nelson Lee, fantastic actor, plays Senator Ziono perfectly. He's a guy
Like
that
an
you love
asshole.
to
Yeah,
hate. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
he plays the ass hat perfectly.
Right.
Really, really crafted, wonderful actor. And Mr. Daniels stops and goes, I believe it's your line. And Nelson's like, oh yeah, right. And everybody bursts out laughing because we were just so like, we couldn't believe we're watching this legend
Dude.
to,
That's so cool.
and
Is
so
he doing it in
that's
voice
again,
too?
that's one of those damn moments in Ahsoka where you're like, fuck.
Yeah.
Is
I mean,
this
because at
real?
that point, the senator is actually, I don't need to take the word of a droid.
Yeah.
That was his
Right.
line. And
Yeah,
that's when
yeah,
you're
yeah.
holding
So
Chopper back.
Tribunal.
And
Chopper-
ready to go.
And that's the thing too, right? And Chopper's right beside, like he's back there.
Yeah.
Chopper,
Yeah.
Hera, like C-3PO, Mon
Yeah.
Mothma, fucking
Yeah.
Genevieve, right? I'm like, fuck,
Yeah, dude.
I'm out. This
Yeah.
is like, what am I gonna do?
Yeah. And you
This
just
is
had
so
R5D for a few days
Yeah.
or a few seasons. That's crazy.
I'm just like, I'm dead. I'm done.
No,
I'm
you're
done.
in heaven, and
Yeah.
I think you've definitely earned this from all your hard work, and people love you because you have that right attitude, man. And it only comes to those who put it forward the right way, and you have mouse farting.
Thank you.
We're going to have to create a sound bite of a
I
mouse
know.
fart.
Yeah.
Purr,
Yeah.
purr. What was that?
Maybe the next emoji.
So your Netflix show for Avatar: The Last Airbender actually releases on the 22nd.
That's right.
February.
2 weeks from now.
With
I cannot
the
wait.
Bad Batch.
I know.
The
Oh,
premiere
they're
of
going
Bad
against each
Batch.
other?
Fucking guys.
Oh
No,
my god.
I love it. I get it. Hey,
Yeah.
man, it makes sense. This is like, these are two heavyweights going at it, right?
Yeah.
I'm
Netflix has
gonna
got
watch
the advantage,
both. I mean,
no?
that's
I'll
the
be
thing.
watching both that day.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, as a fan of, I mean, honestly, like we are living in a golden age of content.
We are.
And people who, and this goes back to the whole anti-fan thing. People who just want to shit all over everything, fucking go home, just relax, right? Like we are getting so much content right now. Because I remember when there was nothing.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah.
let's
The dark age.
honestly, hey, I'm gonna enjoy it. Bad Batch, they're releasing the first 3 episodes.
Yeah, the first
Oh,
one.
you know,
Yeah.
I'm gonna watch the shit out of those.
Yeah.
I have
Yeah.
to, right? As a fan.
And
And,
there's-
then my cup runneth over, like for Avatar, they're gonna
8
drop the whole
episodes.
8 episodes.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah,
gonna be
yeah.
Wow.
people on Friday morning. We're
I'm
gonna
taking
be
day
a
off.
mess.
That's all I'm doing
Yes.
is watching that then all
Yeah.
day.
And
Yeah.
you are going to, like, honestly, we were able to they gave us access to unfinished like all the VFX aren't done, but we finally we finished shooting that June 2022,
Wow.
right? So like
Wow.
almost 2 years ago,
Jesus.
Wow.
and I hadn't seen a stitch of footage, and then finally, like a couple of weeks ago,
Wow.
we got
Wow.
access to
Wow.
them, and I just consume,
Yeah.
consume,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
yeah.
it was like I'm biased, and I had
Yeah.
stake in it because it's like I want to see how it looks, having lived through shooting it, and was just like more, and it was just that
Absolutely.
whole insatiable sort of. I finally had to stop because I was exhausted. It was like, okay, I'm gonna pick up the rest. I'm gonna pick up the rest later. I'm gonna
Yeah.
watch it. As soon as I'm rested, I'm gonna watch it, right? And it
Yeah.
was just like my brain was like so much stuff, but I was so happy, and I think fans of the Avatar of the animated series are gonna love it.
I
They're
can't
gonna love it.
wait. I
I
mean,
can't
beyond watching you, beyond seeing the other characters that are in there that are going to come to life, Daniel Day, Kim, who is in it. He's the ruler of the Fire Nation. He's an amazing actor himself, and I just can't wait to see this grow, because there are some hardcore Avatar animation fans, because we know what happened in the live action one, but this I think will redeem that and bring it forefront to a younger generation that hasn't seen it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's again it's what we're talking about in terms of fandom. You love something, you want to share it, and if there's a new iteration of it too, because this is the first attempt at a live action since 2010. Right, which really kind of for so many reasons missed the mark. Unfortunate decisions were made. It's difficult to try to cram 20 hours of content into a 2-hour movie, right? And so that's like completely separate, and that's the other thing too. Everybody keeps bringing up M. Night Shyamalan's version of it, and like you better not do what M. Night Shyamalan did. And to which we're like, we're not. Like, obviously it's not like, would it be great if we did a 1-to-1 recreation of a movie that pissed off millions of hardcore fans? Let's do that.
That'll bring them back.
And if they were to at least see the trailers show it's totally
looks beautiful.
It absolutely
the cinematography looks great.
Yeah.
So it's and the bar is set pretty low when they go, oh my god, they're pronouncing the characters' names correctly. Well, yeah.
Did you have to go through any training and for any of the combat scenes?
Yeah. Like it's very humbling. Training. I'm up there in age. I'm not as spry as I used to be. But it had a fantastic, honestly, the stunt team, top notch. Like we had. So there's a dude named Alan, and he was the head coach for the Canadian Wushu Olympic team. So he was teaching all the forms. And then the stunt, like the lead stunt coordinator, they had all this shit together. It was great. We got taken care of. They worked us mercilessly on it. It had to be done right. All the different forms of bending are based on different martial arts. So it had to look right. It had to be believable. And they were like, honestly, Dallas Liu, who plays Zuko, he's been a martial artist since he was like a toddler. Right? Ian Owsley is a martial arts weapons expert. And so they have, they struck gold. Gordon Cormier, who was 12 when we were shooting this, is a naturally gifted actor, but also an athlete. He's an avid skateboarder. And so he knows how to fly through the air, basically. And so he learned and dove into his form. Like you just saw him, and you've seen the trailers. Yeah. The kid knocks it out of the ballpark. He moves like water. It's amazing. Gawindio with the water bending. And, it's just everybody brought it. Yeah. And for me, the biggest thing that I was honestly a little bit concerned about was not if we're going to get the characters. We did the table reads. Do you see that? Is this going to translate? How is this going to look when it's filmed? When you add the different elements in? Is the story going to be engaging enough? Because nobody, despite what anti-fans will have you believe, nobody sets off to make a shitty movie or TV series. Nobody does. Everybody wants to bring something that people will enjoy, even M. Night Shyamalan. So for those of you who are like, that was not the intention. His intention was not, I'm going to piss all y'all off. It wasn't that. So everybody enters into this. It's like a contract to put our best foot forward, to honor a series, to do great work and stuff. But you'll read the script and you're like, sounds great. We shoot it, feels great, but you never know till it's cut together. Yeah. What's it gonna? And there's so many different elements too, right? Yeah. The costumes were beautiful. Yeah. The VFX, the sound, the music. Oh my God, that's next level. And then you have lighting, you have atmospheric effects, you have all these things. You have an army of people working together to tell a story, and the writers and the producers and the directors and everything. And you don't know how it's gonna mesh. I saw those 8 episodes. I burned through those 8 episodes. I rewatched so many times. Mostly to nitpick my stuff. I'm like, fuck, that was shitty. No. I'm a worse critic.
You're gonna be of your own work, right?
Yeah.
And Appa looked great on there too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So Momo is great, and
Yep.
the other creatures you saw, the ostrich horses, like,
Yeah.
they're amazing. So it's all that together, and so I watched it, and like as a fan, and I've seen it, and I'm biased, and people whatever. I think there's a lot of people, a lot of haters out there who are going to be eating crow,
I think
but
so.
more so, there are going to be a lot of fans who are going to be really happy
Oh, I
because the
think
respect for the
it's
source
that,
material is there.
and I think you may have an effect on other IPs to go into the live action format, like a Samurai Jack. Could be inspired from this.
Cool.
And it'd be like, who's going to play Aku? How is that going to be done? And you're like, they did it for, Avatar. How can we try to replicate or do something just as good? Because we want to see that. These are IPs that we all love. Samurai Jack was amazing for its time. Amazing. So I think you guys are going to knock it out the park.
I can't wait.
Yeah, when it drops, I'm getting me a bucket of chicken. KFC,
Yeah,
right?
KFC.
In your honor.
We can have a watch party is what we could do. Everybody get that drumstick and go.
All right.
That'd be awesome.
All right. So it's 2 hours already. This is awesome.
Yeah.
Feels like it's
Oh my
only
God,
been
already?
20 minutes.
Oh yeah.
Before we started the live stream, actually earlier this morning, Evan and I set up a poll, and we had the people in the chat and the Facebook groups and everybody to try to participate in that. And we're going to ask you the same questions to see how you would answer compared to them.
Okay.
Evan, do you have those that together? Or?
I do. So do you want to just ask the questions and then I'll show the results, or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
Let's
Yeah.
do that. That's a good.
Okay.
Good.
Question number 1.
Dude, I think you're able to share anyway.
You got it?
Are you waiting for me to share?
Yeah. Oh, do you have it? Yeah.
Well, I can't share.
So my stuff only has my stuff only has the results. So
Oh, okay.
You got to ask the question, George.
yeah, you
Oh,
would
I
have to
gotta
ask the
ask the
question.
question?
Yeah,
Oh,
ask the
my bad, my
question,
Yeah.
and I'll show the results. Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know how that worked. That's my fault.
It's high. We're high level production, Paul.
Yeah. Absolutely.
As you can tell by
All
the sound check before the show.
We are We are
Okay.
all professional YouTubers.
Yeah.
Yo, tuber.
All right. Would you like to visit Navarro or Coruscant?
Coruscant.
Coruscant.
I've been to Navarro.
All right.
Oh, nice. Yeah,
Not a lot of people
Nice
can say
answer.
that.
So 55% said Coruscant.
There you go.
All right. Cool.
Nice. So next one.
Next one. Which X-Wing do you like better, the T-65B or the T-70?
65B, baby.
All right.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So what did our friends say? Da-da-da-da-da-da-dum.
It's really on drum roll.
82% said the T-65B.
That's my ride.
Yeah.
Right.
Hell
Gotta
yeah.
go with the
It's my
classic.
ride.
All right.
How
Who
cool
would
is
you rather
that?
have as your wingman? Luke Skywalker or Wedge Antilles?
Oh,
Oh,
Right.
It's getting tough now.
That was hard.
I love Luke and I love Wedge, but you gotta stick with the Jedi on this one.
All right.
62.5% said Luke.
All right. I said
Nice.
Wedge.
I said Wedge. I said Wedge too.
Yeah. I figured Luke is a better Jedi, but Wedge is a better pilot.
Yeah, he is.
So somebody's got to watch his ass.
Yeah. Right.
Right.
All right. The Razor Crest or the N1 Starfighter?
Razor Crest.
All right. That's me.
What's the answer?
Obviously, before he got blown up.
70% said the Razor Crest. Yep.
George was so pissed.
Yeah, I was heartbroken.
Oh my God.
It was awesome.
So 70% Razor Crest.
Probably my best reaction. That. All right. New Republic or the Galactic Empire?
Galactic Empire.
Definitely.
I think we all agree on that one.
Yeah.
55%.
All
That's
right.
funny.
That was the questions. Okay.
That's
Cool.
awesome.
Was that it?
Yeah,
it
just
was,
awesome.
it was a fun little poll that we did.
Nice.
Nice. Fun times.
Man, this has been an awesome show. I got one more thing for you, man.
Okay.
because of your contributions to Star Wars, man, and everything that you do. I made this for you, and I want to send it off to you. It's a variant of this art that I created, this shirt. So it's called the Born to Rebel, and I did it with your helmet.
Wow.
Oh, that's
Oh
awesome,
my
George.
God,
Yeah.
that's fantastic.
That is awesome, George.
Yeah, man, thanks, man. So I'm gonna get it printed out, and I'm gonna send it off to you. So yeah, man, I'm really you're probably one of my favorite characters in the Mandalorian series, and just thank you for everything that you do, man. It's awesome.
Oh no, thank you. Wow, what an honor. That is amazing, George. And thank you to everybody for like being so awesome and making me feel so welcome and letting me just sort of yammer on and on and on about stuff. You guys are doing it right on this channel. Your love for what you do is apparent. From what I've been reading in the chat, everybody's super cool on the boards too. So thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in and being a part of this experience. I mean, this is my favorite part of fandom, is people getting together, shooting the shit, maybe learning some stuff and having a bunch of laughs. And so thank you for inviting me on your channel. And this has been a great experience for me as well.
Thank you.
Man. Thank you.
So awesome.
Thank
man.
you.
Yeah.
All right. For all you guys in the chat, thanks for hanging out with us tonight. Hope you all had a great time. I know we all did. And we'll be back next week. So until next time, may the force be with you.